So, I'm going to try and play Dungeons and Dragons that you for the next 10 hours. This is my first time playing Dungeons and Dragons. I usually play Dungeons and Dragons at least 10 hours a week, with no more than a dozen people, including myself, and I'm going to walk you through your first 20 levels in the Dungeons and Dragons game. So the fact that Dungeons and Dragons is actually a non-monotheistic cult that actually worships Roman demons. Kind of weird. But yet it's all people really want to do out online. It's also a very slow-paced game. There are not elaborate happens. And you get used to just waiting to hear it speak. You're going to need to create a character in your imagination. Your choices of, your abilities are whatever you want them to be, for races. You can choose between human, dwarf, elf, gnome, half-elf, half-orc, or halflings. Not really a strict DM, so none master. So I'll let you choose any thoughts and what you like. There's a lot of difference in other types of reading, such as poetry or reading a story. There's a difference. You want to choose anything else, your choices of Atlas-Atman, Aboleth, Mage, Abomination. Actually, no, those aren't really choices. Well, if I read things, back to this really podcast, and people are trying to force injury by talking at you, and they're saying that you do stuff. So I guess your character, I'll just start by listing the base options again. The base options are human, dwarf, elf, gnome, halfling, half-orc, or half-elf. And the base starting class options are barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, and sorcerers. There are over 600 classes to choose from, excited about things, but I won't just pick why are you spend so much time creating characters. I've seen people spend weeks creating a character. Sometimes just get started, like try to make it so terrible. You should have a good idea what it looks like in Dungeons and Dragons. It has some sort of anything male or female, stuff like that. That's how they make a character. So everyone will watch you make a character, so you do it right. I'm going to be walking through the worlds for this dungeon. Walking through the world's largest dungeon. The Celestials built their dungeon. Within it, the Celestials erected mammoth walls, locks, doors, and traps. They warded off those who were answered and also brought in those who could escape. It was a dungeon larger than any ever known. Within it, Celestials imprisoned hellish undead, demonic beasts, and fiendish monstrosities. It was a perfect construction. Before the first walk would ever be born, the skull snow, angels and Celestials carved the word upon a perfect sea. Perfect in every detail, it would stand in my earth for thousands of years. The dungeon said, while the gods ordered demons and witches to be entombed and not destroyed, and in time, the gods were married. So the gods were true and married. Therefore, it is our contention that addition, dialects, goblins, and nine voters make for an excellent food chain. Just like when you have store campaigns and making yourself. For those who can think of a lot of things such as magnums, makes me think about voices and their effects. And makes me think about writings, text, and maps, and lines, and statements, and how long you keep a state trance, state imagining fantasy realms. So you don't know how, but you can teleport it to a bunch of snowy mountain tops. Right above you is the sun, and it doesn't look like where you are. There is a day-night cycle. There is no day-night cycle. The sun is directly above you, and the clouds move around it sideways, circling the sun like a vortex or a whirl. And when you look around the horizon, you see cemented blocks of all the mountains, and you're on that as you climb that, really slowly rising. You will connect different creatures on the hillside. You slay all the creatures you encounter either by sword or some melee weapon, or wave weapon, like a bow or a crossbow, or you use magic, just like two men. And signs of Galleon, big medieval warship. I don't know if they still use that term Galleon. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that seems that we're used a lot in RTS games. The man is huge, right? The signs of a Galleon. He's already dead, and he's blocking, he's next to the entrance to inside a round gate. Iron gate, or no, it's just a protruding into that cave entrance, and I am doing the worst job of playing Dungeons and Dragons game into the camera. So when you search for the arcane, runic symbols, hard to describe the lines, thousands of pages and sockets, like entire letters worth of scribblings all in pockets. And it makes sense to me, it's easy to build. Nice, man is already dead, and all he had was a bunch of scribblings and sockets. But nothing bad. This is actually more fun than I thought. I thought we were going to have a bad time, but as it turns out, we seem to be enjoying ourselves. You enter into the tunnels, not afraid of anything I the level 1 now, but after seeing last young kid body, all of the adrenaline comes through, level up to level 2 will be the standard generic classic. Whether you are male or female, human, elf, dwarf, halfling, gnome, or half-orc, half-elf. I wouldn't have liked to choose anything for monster names. So it's just a monster note, they're all just slamming everything. So the city cave entrance, so you will be entering through the cave, doing the tunnels and wide and deep down, so they're doing deep into earth. Going through caves for a long time now. The thing is low and shallow, obviously done by a small crude hands. Many footprints marked in the dirt and debris flickers every corner in the back of the cave's narrow tunnel, poorly lit, leads deeper. You explore the tunnel more, and it leads deeper. The tunnel lining is around hidden. It's the ceiling some 6 feet high and 5 feet wide at the widest. After about 100 more feet or so, the tunnel opens into a larger room, cut from stone and built rather than dug. It's obvious that something lives here. There have metallic gates, and you open the gates and enter into a larger room with a swirling magma lava flow in the middle, and that looks like a fire, and your screeching noise is coming out of it. The lava flow is in the center of the room. A flow of molten rock from the meanders to the southeast, consuming all it touches, bubbling up from the flaming rivers are occasional pockets of swirling steam, shrieking, moaning, destructing the earth's spine. The road flows and behind is bearable, and when you watch the flowing bits of rock flare to flame, you can see multitude of small, inflight creatures playing in the steam, tossing balls of flaming slag at the dancing clouds playing on the fiery river's surface. You walk by the bank flow. You might have noticed that an ordinary magma flow has actually hair is that metal on fire. You advance 2 levels are now level 4. Inserting more serious sound. Moving to the next room. A thick layer of dust covers the floor as 2 toppled pistols and shattered fragments of the marble statue of hell lie in the center of the room. As you watch, the marble head shifts slightly and its eyelids flutter open. It stares at you with startling blue eyes for a moment and then eyes close again. This room contains the remains of the victim of an ancient trap. The trap is no longer active, and the only thing that else can do is shift its head slightly. In the next room, an inch thick layer of muck covers the floor of the room and doesn't close doors without exterior walls. Deeply charred rooms and under 90 bars center of each random door, and geometrical base of green, red, and yellow tiles fill the area between each door. The ceiling is covered in bronze discs, each is 6 inches wide. The majority of the doors are false doors. The rooms and mosaics are once traps which release streams of acid from the ceiling and fired lightning bolts from the rooms. The these traps failed 6 centuries ago. In the next room, the walls and ceiling of the room are featureless, but hundreds of metallic chain links lie scattered upon the ground, enormous anchors and segmented plates jut the floor. The prisoner Republicans from centuries ago. All that is left are the chambers which have been corroded by evil. Swords, both, and then the next room. Swords and motionless ears, large chains and tiny lengths fill the chamber, leaving barely enough room for a human to squeeze through it. Silver and striped deckings of each mechanism tackle a few efforts of power. The room conveys a sense of frustrated power and intricate design. The room once maintained several magical fields, but magically entered centuries ago, and here you search all that is left is some resident magical aura that makes creatures nervous and dead. In the next room, thick cobwebs obscure vision beyond a few inches, and a harsh buzz echoes from the interior of the room. Tiny spiders shatter before you, where lights and disappear into the web's depth. The stench of running regress through the close air of the chamber. The only thing in the room is a wrong course, even centuries ago. Good body constantly damage at the same rate that it became something with reverse stasis. The body is home to thousands of flies, eels, and vermin. And they kill all the flies and vermin, or XP. You go up a level, you want more of the bottom. In the next room, the stench of death pervades the chamber. The air is sick, and flying close to dust covers the second floor. A painting between a large window and line breast and rooms hanging in the center of the wall. Under its large wooden coffin, its lid has been smashed open, and its wood has rotted. That closer reveals skeletal remains of a humanoid inside, buried with its clothes and sword. The human comes alive, the skeleton animates and attacks you. You and slay or destroy the undead creature, gains much speed. You may could be painting and the sword shield that the undead is using into your inventory. The remains are those that automatically died ages ago. While it's not obvious what you died from, you was buried with the belongings to the man of importance. Triggers in the painting portrays an unknown woman. The not particularly high quality, it is ancient and thus worth over 100 gold. The clothing is rotted and useless. The sword is natural quality and requires to be clean and sharpened. This alpha work was burned with a few other items, including one minor magic item, not potion. In the next room, this room is devoid of decoration, but its floors are framed by heavy stone structures, sculpted runes and intriguing patterns. These intricate frames are beautifully crafted but otherwise ordinary. The runes are decorative and not plain no names. An angel sculpture fashioned beautiful door frames of this room, which house archon pillars when the vast engine complex was created. A large stone desk dominates the otherwise empty room. An elaborate standard drum, a polished silver sits on the great desk, and 3 candles dimly illuminate vast reliefs on the walls representing the faces of demons, gargoyles, and other terrifying creatures. The carving is so well done and the half-life they seem real. The best reliefs in this room are fashioned by celestial builders of the dungeon adding art to otherwise dismal surroundings. They represent some of the most fearsome creatures in the imprisoned in the vast complex as seen by an angelic artist. This place is safe to rest for about 4 hours. And if you rest here for more than 4 hours, you'll probably be attacked. You probably rest for more than 4 hours because you're looking for fight. You have a random encounter, something can launch an animal, and you win. You get XP, but you still don't have enough XP to level up it, even though you're already level 4 from walking. You've also gathered enough loot so far that you have about as much loot or treasure as a 3rd level wizard normally would have. In the next room, the blackened remains of the great tapestry hang in the doorway of the chamber. Beyond the room tapestry is a nice, very massive room. Both eyes were formed on a dark gray stone. The same material has the walls of this all over place. The walls are darkened by soot, and the fancy walls are beautiful in the hair. This room was served as a leading office angel wardens, under the leadership of their names and the spirits. Ways of improving the security of the dungeon. Demons destroyed this place centuries ago. In the next empty room, the walls of this shockingly clean room are not exactly mirrored. The blue and clear reflections of floor seems as solid as the walls and doesn't seem to have accumulated any dust at all. There is a very large round invisible table in the center of the room. Hope this is floor, in fact, the physical inspection of the walls of the floor proves the room is quite as clean as solid as appeared. After shining power in the room, you become visible. As you walk out of the room, you become visible again. In the next empty room, the pale ground walls, the ceiling, and floor are covered with some sort of leathery canvas, though no means of attachment can be seen. The air is stagnant and the odor of sweat is heavy in this room. A small, dark, irregular circle seems to be painted on the floor. At one time, this room was cramped with incredibly complex and powerful stuff. A last moment defense against a particularly nasty inhabitant of this region. The only remnant of the path is the room itself, cleaned up with the body of the creature captured. The dark paint on the floor is actually a blood stain, and the floor is once cut. It's only 15 degrees in the room. If you want to properly, you might be hit unless you are more and have taken small from your body. If you are more forward and having individual wood things, you have narrowed other temperature while taking out. In your country, also the necessary war is also the movement as you block 7. The effigy represents a feeling when if arms cross across is a massive chest. Though out of place, the statue is surprisingly clean and in good condition. Its fearless eyes stare through at you. As you enter the room, statues of angels I did not mention come alive and attack you. You defend yourself against the statue, but you receive no discipline. The device of magic or living weapon happens, you might share them more easily. Actually, while you probably succeed at destroying the things attacking you, the inanimate, magically, animate, statues, or animals. You destroy them, and you find them dropping all out in the next room. A small room of trees surrounds the swimming floor of this room, standing amidst snow-covered benches on the stone wall full of ice. There's one floor towers and buildings next to a big hall with landscape. Everything is no properly now pictured in the floor, the stone ceiling unlocks your view. The sea, winter wonderland is real, created by artists that past power. Several sets of models the trees and all lives are real. The snow and ice are real. Anyone can walk along the drain and pick up some snow. There are no negative illusions, but the walls are closing in such a way that trickle your eyes. You believe they're doing the same for miles, when actually it's under approximately 10 feet past the floor and walls. You must take that here. The optical illusion is perfect. You find features here that are messy, this is tight space, and no combat happens here. You should be getting comfortable now, so you might want to grab something to stand out while I see you. You're constantly at this level, trees standing in the stone floor, standing next to the covered benches and whatnot, nice. You can stay in a stressful place for rendering with large, otherwise, you will be coming to you and leave all time. So you leave that type of room and care about the there forever. You leave it, continue with it, and this honorable, celestial goes to the lane, all of them, within the room, at a big con. It feels obscure, that's another attempt. This is heard walking away from the wall through the hall. But now they find yourself completely messy in the world around you. Whole time this room, very big dangerous, that's 10 feet. This means that you're venturing more than 10 feet away from each other, lose contact completely until they stumble upon each other again in thought. The footsteps are not every few seconds, they eventually lead to a door out of the room. Someone's like, I'm unseen surgeon. Help you if you can follow. You go into the next empty room. The interior of this room reeks of rotten flesh and flies runs loudly in the center of the room. Tile of charred wood is surrounded by 6 human moving corpses. Another corpse lies on its side, partially leaning against the wall, opposite the door. All the bodies are in similar states of decay and have been stripped, but everything of value. So there's nothing of value in this room. The corpses are 6 goblins that got lost in the dungeon and finally set down here to rest their taken off their wandering again. Unfortunately for the goblins, the fellow on watch fell asleep and the whole group was killed by other inhabitants of the dungeon. We're having a really good time with each other, with the whole group. There's probably at least a dozen of us have never hung out with any friends before. And we all have such great speaking rules and we all entertain each other and ourselves. In the next empty room, the door to this room is locked. You can pick the lock, or you can break down the door. You break down the door. At the center of this room is a badly decomposed winged body, legs, its arms, legs, and wings, and sounds of 4 wings, provided has obviously been targeted by at since death. The ship was largely ringed with human body, but all that was armored and goods that it moved. Since the body writing been scratched and stone. It's like some sort of wounded being was tortured here, to the point where how he gets the last words, carved into stone with his fingernails. This is one of the members of the Celestial Garrison who was slain after the first earthquake. Before he died, he carved his last words into the stone floor. In Celestial, he speaks Celestial, I know one who does. In Celestial, they read, I was our right host. I stood fast against the darkness and now traveled into the light. Let you find my body, tear down the fight in my head. Alstar was slain, and this whole dedicated by creatures of the dungeon. It is getting spooky. The floor of this room is missing. Instead, there is a pit of significant depth. At the bottom, which is nothing but spikes and horses. The walls and ceiling are bare, except for a few scratch marks. A foul thunder indicates the bodies have been running for some time. He's never leaving, or in front, or keeping foot in species, like I say. Springing trap, first up the trap, as well. Stuck in open position, very deep pit with spikes at the butt. Some of the local residents use it for garbage disposal. Everything for bodies and abilities. Somehow, you will make a quick save and get out of the pit trap, getting to the next speed, or the closest spot. The air is extremely sandy. At the end of this chamber is a door from the church. The doors are normally warm, heat emanates from the room, none, and you can hear the sound of fire and an odd whooshing noise after short at irregular intervals. The entire room is colored black. After a few seconds, the room is entirely engulfed in flammable whoosh noise as air rushes in to feed the fire. The process repeats frequently, rarely taking longer than a half a minute between bursts. Whoosh. A half a minute later, whoosh. This room became the fireball trap, but the trigger has not functioned. The fireball goes on at random intervals every 1d6 rounds, so it's not really scientific, it's random conditioning. Destroying anything placed inside. The vent for the fireball trap is set at the ceiling, and the lever can turn it off even on the far wall. If the PC lifts across the room and is find a way to disable the trap without getting cooked. You try to disable the trap, it is incredibly difficult. Take the seat. The door to this room has longer than center, and then a few straps of wood hang from the hinges. The walls of this room are dominated by long wooden bookcases, lined with straps of paper, ruby linings, and other elements of the massive library. The bookcases have a very much better. The entire room is ready to collapse. Once one of the libraries used by the Celestial Garrison, the room has been exposed to the air of the dungeon, and several species of paper-eating insects in the last few centuries. Now contents are all destroyed. Any human contact destroys the surviving books in this room, and there are few of those who happen. Most of the books in this room have long remote pocket play, so there's nothing of value in this great library. Now, nobody ready off the wall of the room, so all structures created the fire. Operating bed is laying across the walls and floors turning the stone black. The wall fire is an illusion. You walk through it. The bruise is not beating to not harm you. However, if you believe it's real, it does 2d6 plus 11 damage to fire damage that a real wall fire would. You see the walls clean and the fire has that anything. So we'll move through and there's a wall of fire. So because it was an illusion. So the wall fire was an illusion, but it didn't. In the next room is a vampire throne. Your entrance awakens the vampire. The vampire attacks you. Boss battle. After hours of combat, you eventually get the upper hand of the vampire. you slay the vampire, better regenerates. You have to find vampires people to kill completely, otherwise they'll just keep on coming back to life. Maybe you light the vampire on fire, or a sunlight spell, or have a silver sword or something that somehow you kill that vampire. You go up level. You're like level 6 now? Level 6. You're almost an ass. Almost. Now level 6 is a good time to stop. Think about everything you've accomplished in this adventure before we make it into Judy, Peter, hearts of this horrible dungeon built by celestials and heart gods and entities. Maybe this is a good place to stop. We're making into entirely different parts of the dungeon now.
Navigational data received.
This is region A of the dungeon. Longtail, definitely. Longtail. Longtail is a were-rat sorcerer with quick mind, charisma, and great visions. Research shown that he is familiar HSCs. Longtail found out about the dungeon's history and original purpose. Through HSCs, ability to commune with the infernal powers, he learned that there was a long forgotten chapel close to that entryway for the dungeon and held a gateway to a original space, where multitudes of infernal beasts had been trapped. Releasing those beasts, HSCs told of Longtail would make command at their master and lead a ferocious army available to him. Longtail's destiny is clear. Longtails, and this charm allowed him to bring together a diverse force of humanoids to accompany him on this quest. Gathered from the disaffected elements of half a dozen tribes, kobolds, troglodytes, orcs, and even an ogre valley to his side in a region with the dirty, half-frightened, half-eaten. Fueled by the promise of treasure and lived losing for. Now, Longtail's force made its way to the dungeon in short order, entering the long-lost entrance, the humans again exploring the air, searching for the tomb's fabled wealth. Longtail himself, who might be Ishix, led a small expedition into the farthest regions. At first, he was swiftly home, reading the half of Longtail, and a chance to gather as much treasure as possible while his friend was gone. But as the search party came back empty-handed, and with tales of daring ruins filled within the trash, trouble ensued. It had been Longtail's natural leadership that held unusual force together, and now were meeting humans were left to their own devices. Soon the natural rivalries of the various human groups began to send themselves insults and slight slender shouting and shoving, suspicions and rumors of one group had found the treasure and was not sharing it with others. Led to bitter accusations, inevitably armed confrontations, isolated clashes took place, and Longtail's force was splintered into the reptilians composed of kobolds and shire mouse, troglodytes, and lizardfolk, banding together out of necessity against the more numerous orcs and their ogre enforcer. The dungeon was divided between the two sides, and each side searched looking for treasure that they would never find. And as their own searches became fruitless, each side became convinced that the other side had found something. Siren gave way to all-known battles as the two factions spurred down and by their frustrations, searched and fought across the length and breadth of the area. In a short time, they forgot about the searching for treasure and were concerned only with wiping out their enemies. During this time, the quest of Longtail was ignored by the humans. Neither side caring any longer, and had brought them to the dungeon originally. Some even forgot about their half-game. They would soon be reminded. For even as the humanoids fought amongst themselves, Longtail led his expedition to the forgotten chapel. There, with his familiar Ishix, he moved into the gateway, fully intent on becoming what he knew he was destined to be. And you only have knowledge of everything I just said if you are either a cleric or a wizard, scribe, see knowledge, omniscience, or if you're a bard, you have art knowledge, which gives you probably just the same all this information out for no reason, or maybe even none of this skill useless. But things did not turn out as planned. While Longtail could control some of these, he could not control all of them, and soon the extra priorities, driven on by that hatred, rushed through the dungeon. Following fighting humanoids of beasts struck a hammer blow that filled the dungeon with blood and soon Longtail's erstwhile allies, and even as Longtail tried desperately to control Atheist and infernal powers to summon, you have random encounters, and there is razor wire across the hallway. All these random encounters instead with the razor wire help add up the sharpness of the razor wire. You have to keep on the setting over, makes you feel edgy, and once you watch your set more and all random encounters, you get around your razor wire, you level out at this one, you are now level 7. You are a badass. You are more capable than a lot of things. A lot of things don't get to level 7. You need to feel good about yourself. And I'm not going to be so easy on you this whole time, letting you just have successes until level 7. I'm going to be a lot more difficult because you not only have to try and kill your characters, and you have to use your intelligence to survive. You have to actually think about your actions, not just go around slaying everything, stabbing it, or charming it and calming it down. The approaching interest. You look at the dark thing that's down here, passage because every time you this way, you see you have into a large square chamber healing completely from stone. You notice two stone doors, one to your side and the other in front of you. This is your last chance to rest. Once you cross the threshold, you just need to left of it, and if you really need to rest, that's now. I mean it. Reflect before entering the dungeon. The right anchor chamber. Nothing else enters. In the second, the doors reveal that they are absolutely featureless. The doors are any marking system will read inside use. And the code that uses the doors by simply placing your hand on it and pushing the door handle aligns forward and remains open. Once you cross the threshold, the door slides shut. You already go forward now, there isn't turn back. As you push the door, the edge disappears into the blackness that lies just beyond. You allow the door to open completely and watch as more and more of it swallowed up in the barrier until only its features are visible. Peering cautiously into the darkness for signs of movement, you see nothing. Even your ears can only detect the breathing of your fellow adventurers. Or reach by yourself. Completely alone in isolation. Going through this large, mad dungeon. The dark space reveals nothing but light beyond. The doorway circumscribes an area that is currently warded by a bleak magical field. This field prevents all vision, including dark vision and low light vision, as well as all sound from passing through from one side to the other in either direction. In addition, the magical field has an unusual and friendly force effect that allows creatures and items to enter the dungeon without difficulty to absolutely prevent them from leaving. As you enter into this room, the markings and general floor show that you are quite clearly inside an orc stronghold. A former orc stronghold. Within this region, the orcs choose the section closest to the entrance for defensive reasons and launch all their search expeditions from here. Unfortunately, while the dungeons are physically strong, the same quality is limited as they get orcs to explore other parts of the dungeon. As a conflict with the reptilians estimated, the Orc's leader, an Orc barbarian named Orthar, decided that it was time to force a decision. Marshalling the Orcs, he led them in an all-or-nothing assault on the reptilians throughout the dungeon. As a result, the section has been abandoned, but the Orcs since that time, although they plan to return here establish garrisons to guard the ankles once they were victorious, this has not come to pass. While that expected release of the extra power beast and subsequent dissemination and fragmentation of rise mainly the Orc, but also the reptilian forces. The section is wide open and human survivors taking it this far. It looks like all the Orcs might already be dead, like you. I thought you about that to factor an entire Orc stronghold. Your Torchlight Williams believe in this complete gloom, lighting out a small region of appears to be a large gloom. Two iron lords, one chair heavy and other to its side, by only things that they have the unending mass of stone. The chill in that air cools your body and not only what healing and living by a compliment without your top. Pretty old warriors, so such a lot of men. They said huddled together in one each corner of the room, one trying to cycle others tough. There are sorry remnants of the war forces. I thought long held into them, extremely haggard, deep bags over their scar faces and national failures, warning of their weakened state. Both were trying to hide from you, but you rush in and slay them for XP. You know, you just let a lot more work to be like level 8.
Technology recharge.
Before you open the door, you learn that something is amiss. Their life is open as far as overwhelming. The sources of oil swirling bodies piled up in room, their flesh rotting away. These bodies are trophies brought back by the Orcs from their conflict with reptilians. There are a total of 23 bodies here, 17 poles, and 6 troglodytes in there with things of decay, all of which have been stripped of anything they might have been carrying in life. Examination of the bodies shows that their wounds have been caused by sharp edge weapons. The smoke decay is found after fire DC 1540 save, where every living creature enters the room, and it causes the creature to become sick among its two counter tackles, weapon angels, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks, for the duration of the stay in the room as well as for 1 equal rounds thereafter, and living creatures having more than single man in the room must be protection of airborne variants of the fever. The door of this was fat with burning hands. Clean friends finding a larger creature touches the pistol to fat bird, shooting flames on front-shaped birds of 15 feet from the center of the door. He just needs to encounter 4 warriors. The Orcs are in the room, or straight out into France and trouble, almost themselves and kind of ignorance of confronted. There are at least 2 of them. These ones seem a little bit confronted with reveal they killed in cold blood. You slay these 2 Orcs that were overconfident. And material, rotting barrels, moldy crates, and disintegrating sacks with mushrooms embedded in them, lining the metal wall of this room. Even the parts of the white cracks away along the right wall directly at the door. There are dozens of barrels, crates, and sacks lining the wall extending into the western end of the room. They are piled up in an ordinance fashion to say the least, and most of them have been opened. The barrels have their tops saved in, and the crates, boards, thrown away, and the sacks are ripped open, some of their contents spilling onto the ground. Ends in room A4. The sacks are covered in black mold and mushroom colonies. All the other barrels and crates are also equipped to hide their sacks so haphazardly that anyone moving a barrel or must succeed a DC 13 series can release out swing before the sacks survive. Moving the sack causes the sack to disintegrate still its contents on the floor, and releasing the mold into the air. You are bold enough to rifle through the contents anyway to find. You find the barrels contain the vinegar. Feel good. You put the vinegar into your inventory with paint leader. Searching very carefully, you find a gold ring. Probably something to sell to a pawn shop, but never the outfit. Any tiny or larger creature that enters the north-south hallway leading to room A6 triggers an acid air trap. The proximity trigger covers the entire hallway to the door, and not beyond it. Any creature that remains in the hall after the trap resets triggers it back again. Clothes are rubber barrels with nails and open paper tools are lined up against the walls. Although the air is damp, there is no mold in the ices. You can take dodge acid arrows down the hallway. Once you cross the hallway, you enter into former troglodyte quarters. The heavy smell of stale air greets you as you open the door to this large room. Bits of dry grass as well as larger hunks lay all over the floor as if such a window recently torn through a metal. This room was occupied by a small group of troglodytes, who treated much of their former cave mountain. They were among the first victims of the Orcs' relations along humans called Sour. Given their uncivilized nature, they used it not only as their sleeping place, but for everything else, although they kept to those activities in the southeastern corner. The smell of body odor, along with the remnants of cold and stench, are eye-watering and powerful, and any living creature that enters the room must succeed a DC 12 fortitude save, or become nauseated. That is to say, unable to attack, cast spells, or do anything requiring concentration, can only take a single move action per turn, for as long as it is in the room and will be 4 rounds after it leaves the room. The dried grass bits are remnants of mats that the troglodytes used as sleeping mats, and were destroyed in the fighting in this room. You find dried drips and small pools of blood in various places about the room.
Technology recharge.
The troglodytes were unaware of the standing secret door in the middle of the northern wall, as are the Orcs, who, although they dragged down to the tiny white bodies, otherwise avoided the room. Great characters may search for the debris, search for even for the falling midwestern of freshwater shells of various sizes on all their palm. Just one more dagger, no time. So I will creature that is crossed with a toad and a lizard in the back. You open the door. You see a little door to your left, the body of the Orc. His arm is stretched towards the door you have just come from. Lies slumped near the middle of this room. Alone seated, it's shattered open, releasing one from the corners. The Orc of the clansman did in room A2, that they abandoned attack by the fiendish surgeons. You managed your rifles up here and then attempt to keep up with the clansman. His strength ran out just before you got to the door. Searching, you find several holes in Orc's neck, arm, and leg, where the fiendish scourges successfully attached themselves to the Orc. Each hole also has up to 8 smaller blood punctures near it, where the pincers of the fiendish scourges punctured. Both doors into the room are open. An open door on the opposite wall piercing the room other way in out this otherwise empty room. In the next room, there is no floor, but there are hooks hanging off the ceiling, and you have to use your arms and swing from hook to hook to get across the room, because there is no floor in this room. There are only hooks hanging from the ceiling. You must use your arms to swing and grab, which is known as graduation, though I don't think I said that right. So just fly at you and the dark man will attack you while you're trying to cross the room. You have to aim out the book and either cast spells or use a bow or crossbow or wait for the attack you using swords to aim yourself and time just correctly so that they don't drop you into the emptiness that the floor should be. It's very difficult if you slay all the surges and the dark angel, and it takes a very long time and your arms are very sore from aiming on the ceiling for so long. You level up to a level 8. This is a lot of fun you having. You are having so much fun right now. The watcher in the doorway. Both doors to this room are open. The following description opens the presence of a fiendish rat. Carol free to open the door when you discern for certain that the room is empty. There is an open door on the opposite wall that could be the exit, where it can find a rat swarm. You have to make a bunch of little tiny attacks on a bunch of individual rats that make up the body of a swarm of rats, taking reduced damage from not really being able to target them too well because there are so many of them, such as a swarm. If any of them bite you, you have to make a fortitude save to not get sick from their burn, their infectious diseases that they carry with them. Both doors into this hallway are open. A lone small skeleton lies in this 10-foot wide hallway. This is clothing and light armor so clean to strength. 2 open doors, one on either end of the hallway, making no fluid so my legs beyond. The skeleton is the remains of a cold captured by backfiring port patrol and killed by Warhawk. He was left here by the horse as a mascot and fished by the Phoenix rat swarms as it made his way through the room. Carefully examining the skeleton shows hundreds of tiny bite marks on the bones and other armor. Looking through the open door with an overview swarm more open doors. The door to this room is open. Peering through the open door, you find out this room is a disaster area. Unpleasant hints of animal waste fill the air, and scraps of clothing, bits of wood, and other trash cover the floor. This is one of the rooms the orcs used as sleeping quarters. But few items of furniture that were along the floor occupants clothing, backpacks, and other possessions have been chewed to pieces by the Fiendish Knights on the PCs encountered in the E10. The snow is full of brilliant wick, hints of sulfur, that does much describe the infernal mountains that these creatures normally inhabit. And unpleasant odor greets you before you step through the open door. The smell combined with the trash-covered floor makes it clear that the rodents have destruction went through this area as well. 2 Fiendish rats attack. They are hostile. You slay the 2 Fiendish rats, gaining some speed. The Fiendish rats are good. You know the start. The door to this room is open. Forwards. The transparent legs in the hallway and open door indicate that there is probably little to be found in this room. Once you enter, you see the remnants of a bed are still evident in one corner of this room, but everything else has been firmly destroyed. This is the room of 2 more barbarians and acting being fed by one of the panic savage from room 820. Unfortunately, the Fiendish rat swarm has swarmed face to bits, but that is nothing more than a fight by 4 legs. Certainly, you notice a small tin box lying under the bed. The box is 6 inches long, 3 inches wide, and 2 inches high. It has a clasp that is held closed by a piece of metal wedged into the ring. The box is not strapped, so otherwise locked. Openly reveals that design with black silk and has 3 indentations to hold miles. Although there are 2 miles in the box, one of them is broken, and its contents have settled into silk. There is currently only 1 intact vial box. There's a potion of cure-moderate wounds, so if you take any damage, you can heal yourself with a potion of cure-moderate wounds. Trash is thrown on the floor of this room, accompanied by the bitter smell of red. You are cleared by Fiendish dark resins that are clinging to the ceiling. You slay the Fiendish dark resins and gain some speed. Both doors in this room are open. The southern hallway. Ignore the exit of this room and open door directly across from you, even as you notice that the chair appears to be empty. This room is empty, save some dust and debris. However, it is the gateway, the moment that you enter your room for all listening subjects. Encounter Fiendish surges that clinging to the ceiling. You select more surges and gain 4 XP. Both doors in this room are open. Middle hallway. This room looks much like the last room, with both doors open and nothing to be seen. This room is completely empty, assuming that neither side has been sucked in another. Continue to make a single listening subject. Listen carefully for drafty echoes. Another hallway room. All 3 doors in this room are open. This room appears to be a junction, with the 3 open doorways leading in different direction, like the previous 2 room. It is empty. You come across safe thousands of orcs and entire squad deadly hungry. You are level 8. I think you can take them. The metal is hard and they surround you, but from your superior skill, you manage to defeat and kill all of them, gaining XP. You are now level 9. Not only were you surrounded on all sides by orcs, but also surges in the room. And they were clinging up to the ceiling, dropped off and attacked you from above, but you overcame all of them, took some wounds, and then used perfect cure-moderate wounds, and came out unscathed. You are level 9 now. The pool came full of bodies lying in the room along with a couple of farm surges. Stools of reed and sand, blankets all strewn all over the place, along with one of probably the crucial positions of kobolds that made this at home. The kobolds that were studying this room were surprised and overrun by the wave of Fiendish dark bodies that rolled through the air, although they quickly managed to get a defense and was too late. Currently there are 5 Fiendish dark rats beating out there. The shrinkiest morsels can handle the 7 or 8 kobold forces. They are rather agitated, in fact, waiting the head of all night while the Fiendish cat swarms from room 844. There is a bunch of distracting noise in this room. More Fiendish rats. You slay more Fiendish rats. These rats are the size of dogs. Kobolds use living area. The door to this room is open. The smell of blood in this room is close to overwhelming. Kobold and orc dead along with almost equal number of fine obvious creatures. Blood streaming out the room. A couple of large human bodies and identified in corners. A small sea of drowning blood coats the floor that is far guarded. This is Orion's. The kobold chief. Warriors command this hearing of battle between the horse and kobolds reaches 5 inches of war. His best warriors in the 2 Fiendish dark. Battling that sword once even as both sides included heavy cannons used on each other. The Fiendish dark rifles fell and a freeway battle was joined, during which all the humans, including Orion, perished, although their hasty alliance managed to inflict some serious casualties on the Fiendish dark rifles. So thick is the blood in this room that any creature moving past the speed 4 by 16 BC 15 minutes. Every move action all among the blood bodies, move silently checks, separate by 5 0 slowly, each of the moves made when moving through the city blood. The fall into the mess are partially coated with blood being lower, and carnage in the place, not even the Fiendish rats have entered into the room. Because of the mess of carnage, it is impossible to tell that the room looks contained a broken table with a small size lantern throughout the area, and the stage 10 read the next stand attendant like it's the remaining items mostly covered personal items and the sorting stacks are scattered about the room amongst bodies. Treasure, the shooting against the area, and the shooting rest makes looking in small naval items a chance of proposition. The bodies still have their usual arms on this. Most items are crushed or so drenched in blood that they almost unrecognizable. Still, determined, we search for all items, a silver ring, one set of moonstone out of wood sand, 6 sets of gold horn caps, And electron theory and cold zero, a master shoe that lays near Golden, a loophole necklace pointing from the neck of the horse. Gold pins in the shape of a tree around the cold syrup, a pair of fine leather boots on the feet of the horse. An additional item of interest is a large chest situated in the southwestern corner of the room as the horse's stomach constant. This was a Golden Chicken's personal chest, and as is located in the average lot. It is much traffic contains a bolt of purple silk, a plain gold circlet, 2 sacks of silver pieces, 1 sack of gold pieces, a small pouch of platinum pieces, and 2 pouches of gems. Honey shop tables. Those doors in this area are open. Pillars of illusion. Doors to this room are open. This room is even larger than the previous one, and, like for all intents and purposes, this room has 4 large pillars, 1 in each corner. The room appears empty and the pillars are completely nondescript. This is deceiving as the pillars are capable of generating major image effects. This is not evident. However, unless someone casts a big magic on them, at which point they radiate faint illusion all around. Creating an image requires a successful DC 18 puzzle readings. If successful, the creator can create a major image that acts exactly as the spell, but only in the room. This room is haunted. You are attacked by ghosts. You need to either be a monk, or have ghosts have stronger weapons, or attack the ghosts magically to defeat them. Somehow, you defeat ghosts and you succeed. You are level 10 still. Pillars of silence. The door to this room is open. 4 pillars down the corner of this dark room. Total quiet exists in this room, courtesy of the permanent silence that you bring you by the pillars. These effects are difficult to spell on this day, except that the effect is limited to this room. No sound can be generated in the room, and no sound passes through the room, so that sounds made out in the hall do not penetrate through the room, and vice versa. Chanting magic abilities reveals a faint illusion or the maze, as the key is called, is a mystery. Perhaps anatomy design kept prisoners from finding the surface. Whatever its purpose, this fact orders countless doors and lighting bulbs are perfect reminder of home, the trial of like all the time. Although nominally human, the reptilian forces, the charge lights largely keep themselves elsewhere very little. All are, at the mechanical activity to realize that dozens of orcs could be bogged down in the maze, and thus, except for a small force to take room, using 5 forces avoiding there during the final assault on resilience. All are planning to deal trial lights later. Although the forces surprised attack mentioned ratify that from running using 5 forces were themselves sooner than running forcefully retreat into the maze by a large swarm of fiendish dark angels that long ago had released, where they all messed their fate. Currently, the trial lights fall in the eastern rooms in their mass, having fought off the fiendish dark angels in the narrow holes, and the way whatever comes next, due to the close quarters and effects of the trial light musk. This is a dangerous area for even well every person or party, especially in heat. Before having entered thoroughly studied this section of W, the doors in the maze before them, the doors between hallways are all open, unless otherwise making the door between hallways can't open any other way. The decision, note that any action that takes place within hallways eliminates itself using preference and intuition. Pillar room. All doors shoot from this room are open. A giant pillar, some 10 feet in diameter, rising from the ceiling, dominates this room. Deep face images cover every inch of the wall, leaving no clue as to what the map had once been. Several open mobiles out of the room, but they were obviously losing use to the old forces inside their floor. Several bodies of reddish leathery octopus-like creatures are scattered about, one still attached to an orc's head. The images of the pillar are beyond recognition. Forward the face, the 7 orcs are reticent one cars of Star Force, and as they take this room, shoot like swarm of fiendish dark angels that fly through the area. They learn to by the extra RVs are quite capable of opening doors, examining those, shows that all of them have lolling tongues and bubbling eyes or broken necks. Clearly they were attacked by the fiendish dark angels. You have distracting visions. The fiendish dark angels attack you, defend yourself. The vision, trigger, the vision arms and armor for standard equipment for force. You find a few items of interest on board successful search day. A small block of packed silver, a ton of silver from pieces of cut paper items worth 37 silver pieces, a golden nose ring, 6 gold pieces from value, 23 more possible, small automatic with 3 pieces of rockets, well-worn ivory knuckle rings, silver and gold bracelet with images of dolphins, a small bright golden feather going into one hat. You enter the narrow room. 2 orc forces lie in the back of this long narrow room. Obviously, the victims of octopus-like features of the room is otherwise empty. The orcs are forced to retreat to this room, and the fiendish dark angels attack no kill their efforts. Except for the 2 orc forces, the room is empty. The orcs are still there in their armor and their allies by their sides. 7 fellows in fixed light against one corner wall. Of course, an orc by the look of it lays another corner. One of the flying octopus is attached to his head. You attack by flying octopuses. You defend yourself from the flying octopuses. One of the flying octopuses had a massive dagger, worth 38 gold pieces. The winter in darkness. The orc corpse lies in the hole just before the door, another victim of the fiendish dark angels. You attempt to open the door. Pushing against the door, he senses the distance. When you push with a harder, the door moves slightly before moving backward towards you as if something swinging back from the other side. Is that an agreement? The door is being held closed by fur and orc that managed to survive the fiendish dark angels by seeking refuge in this room. Equals his fellow orc has been killed right outside the door. He's barricading the door by jamming the points of the pole sphere under the bottom and pulling on for dear life. You can force open the door. You overpower to rock and force open the door. Once the door is open, 2 round retreats to the northwestern corner. Rest of his allies are trying to get as possible, even though he's shaking feet. You use your ability to say something to reveal that orc is feeling in no mood for conflict. You attempt your rock. He goes down without aiming. You gain speed. Casualties. The door to the room is open. Close to a dozen more bodies lie in various places of the room, along with an equal number of flying octopus creatures. Several chairs and tables are also present, no doubt standing near battle. Once you get to the marshal wall, the room is presently empty except for the bodies. However, once you have been invading the room for 2 rounds, the fiendish rats will enter the hole that lead to this room from the southern door and heads into the room in search for more prey. You did not spend 2 rounds in the room, did you? Or you simply look inside and leave? The way of entering the hall and one of the beasts was so ardent, you attack by the fiendish rat swarm. You slay the fiendish rat swarm. Silent on all the rats. Like your captain. Animals. The hallways and rooms north of the room, just in the west of the rooms before that, are the home of private lights. You enter there without automatically sitting, being amongst 2 people attacking weapon control, saving those skill ability checks. The entire time you are within the area from strong concentration of private light must pervades the area that active fiendish dark angel attack. In addition, you must succeed with a DC 15 40 centimeter round. Once you fail, you are nauseated, unable to attack and cast spells. And it is worse, you require attention. You are horribly sick and nauseated. Not as well. When you do there, you are no longer nauseated. Open room. The troglodyte lies in the corner, strangulation and they found features. Next to him lies a flying object of creature, its body torn apart. The dead troglodyte is one of three that run guard in this room. When the finished object was area, his partners managed to retreat to another room and one troglodyte's there, and not so case the needle. The doors to this room are open. The bodies of two troglodytes lie on the floor, obviously suffocated to death. These troglodytes left their faith and finished object was swept in the area. The finished object was no longer grounded, having pushed on the western end of the maze. Currently, 8 finished surges that were following finished object surges to dark conveyed the pain of the situation raining forces around them. Distracting noises. You are attacked by finished surges and finished objects that are unable to come on the scene. You slay them. Gaining escape. All of the finished surges are hungry, they are not suicidal. I'm glad to think that those are harmed. You enter the torture chamber. The door of the room is cracked. The lead swing out at any moment, standing closest to the door. You the person opened the door. Each leg swings into the square outlet directly in front of the door. A hidden vaulting to the outside edge of the door pushed down to keep the leg in place. The trap is reset when the door is closed. This room served as a prison and torture chamber. Hundreds of years ago, but after the earthquake broke, open tombs. The line point slaves were brought into this room through the secret door, and once the secret door was closed, it showed that there were no way out and had been discovered until now. Ambush. All 4 of the doors in the city are open. You are assaulted. You are assaulted by troglodytes. Troglodytes. Ambush you. You are ambushed by 8 troglodytes. You slay all 8 troglodytes. You enter the troglodyte living quarters. The door to this room, as our old doors in Sarah, is open. 7 troglodytes lie in a fetal position on the roof as sunlight this room appears to be empty. Before your arrival, there was 1 troglodyte stationed in the lower, appearing to move down the hall to the panel. There are a total of 6 dead troglodytes here, and they are arranged in proper burial position by their climber. There are no other live troglodytes in the room. You are attacked by 7 more troglodytes. 2 of them are young children. You slay all the troglodytes, gaining more XP. One of them was named Yurkak, and Yurkak was a troglodyte priest. Our chamber. This main secret door is left with a good lock. Open lock check DC 30. It's difficult to take 20, and with your shield and open lock, you are able to open the lock of the standard door. In the lower corner of the door, the lock is barred the door without the attack. You unlock the door with your superior skill. You can pick a lock. The skill of the lobby falls into the passageway. Since the lobby of our soldier imprisoned in this room next to the soldiers, and his men took him, unable to get out, he ventured south yet. A broken torso lies next to the secret door, its blade snapped. Magazine. The secret door is trapped beneath a swimming block at its own open doorway. When the door is pushed open, there are actually 2 such locks, one for each side of the door. You push them on, but only one will be triggered at a time due to the structural trigger mechanism, which relies on the door opening to the room to operate. The hidden multi password each lock is located just inside the door, and requires the door to be pushed open slowly in order to access the locking mechanism just inside the door frame. Pushing the door closed resets the trap. Several weapons, as well as barrels and cases, sit in this haphazard fashion within this room. You found treasure. There are 2 lighter being processed here, along with 6 loaded magazines, a small barrel of 100 light crossbow bolts, balances in one corner, although there are racks all over a sword. All arms currently only 3 shooters up here. The cases have all been emptied of the contents. The bar. The foot lighter room encompassing A37 to A84D. Servers workshops, all the most of the tools are gone and have been taken out of the funeral braces. The large furnaces and tables are still in place. All that empty for the most part. They currently serves as a resting place for several decent enjoy the open space and field before workshops and actual places of the nest. Tools are workshop. The door of this room is open, and here, with a metal duct tackle, holds the door in place, preventing it from being accidentally closed. Several large workbenches are arranged in haphazard fashion in this room. The 5 workbenches all show signs of heavy use and dust. Various tools lay about the workshop, all of them either broken or in poor repair. Currently, 6 finished surgeons rest on the workbenches. You are attacked by 6 finished surgeons. You slay 6 finished surgeons gaining XP. Look at this workshop. The door to this room is open and secured with a metal spike that prevents it from being closed. There are 11 workbenches in the workshop. Destroy the workshop. The door to this room is open and secured with an iron spike that's been driven into the wall to prevent it from being closed. The workbenches in this room have all been destroyed, as is the furnace that sits in the southwestern corner. Vertically out of this room destroyed everything with the sun tower, including the furnace. Dire rat attack. In undisclosed order, you kill all the dire rats, gaining XP. Destroy the laboratory. The door to this room is partially overhanging by one of the hinges as a result of the explosion that works through the laboratory. The door blocks message from medium creatures. You must use a base strength check to pry open the door. This room is obviously designated by an explosion. Scorch marks are doing holes in the furniture, once the door places in shards. Here and there, you may have what appears to be part of the table or a leg on a stool. Otherwise, the structure is complete. This was a laboratory that was destroyed during a failed experiment involving fire confusion. The entire laboratory was virtually vaporized and the door was not out of stage. The entire floor was covered in slivers of wood, chunks of stone, pieces of glass, and bone shards, and improves a nice considerable multi all exploding checks. All the debris is scorched in some manner, and the entire place still smells of smoke that burned many years ago. The room is a furnace sitting in the north corner, explaining reducing the little hole in a pile of room about the height of a man's knee. Trigger. The floor is a huge mess, and any attempt to look at it can require many hours of sweeping and sifting through trash. The furnace is beside its almost total destruction is what causing here to search at PC. As to see that DC 25 search check, finding the short sword that looks almost unmarked by that station. This is the first for sword that has been prepared to see further enhance the sentence when the research is dedicated. Cold of stronghold. Cold of stronghold. Chosen because of hallway, the lead that comes out is free ring. It was the first part of the orc slash assault. As well as there reached the climax of the electrical RPs, doomed to threat. Even the last second line certain codes and orcs could not stand out the one side. Currently under electrical RPs are exploring the area, looking for traps and nesting places. Cold regardless. The door to this room is open. 2 networks and 3 dead columns on this room, and it's an overturned table and collection of stools. Hostile. This area was guarded as a result of the outside of this area. The guards were tasked with guarding the approach and from the maze. Broken 2 column defenses in room A45. All guards have squad orcs to the western tunnel to deal with them. The corpses that lie here are the result of the skirmish. Currently there are 3 finished shadow rats from the ancient area, looking for something to do along. 2 slaves from the 3 finished shadow rats named XP. Normal living area. The door to this room is open. A number of orc and cold bodies line this room along with a couple of flying octopus scooters. Stools, reeds, and blankets are strewn all over the place, along with probably the crucial positions of the cold that make this their home. The cold and orcs studying this room are surprised by way of fiendish dark bubbles that roll through the area, although they quickly manage to get defensive and they was too late. Currently there are 5 finished shadow rats living out there. The truth morsels to handling instead of working low, couple of horses. They are rather educated in fact, awaiting the head of all night while the finished cat swarms from room 8.4. There is a bunch of shouting noises in this room. More finished shadow rats. We slay more finished shadow rats. These rats are the size of dogs. cold chief's living area. The door is soon open. A small bloodless room is close to overwhelming. Following work there, along with almost equal number of those creatures, lie straight out the room. A couple of large human bodies being identified in one corners. A small sea of your own blood clears the floor like a torn cartilage. This is Orions, the Cold Chief, orders and here that the battle between the Wolf and the Cold reaches climax of war again. This is the best warriors in the two-face shot. Battling that sort of what sea guys outside and took heavy casualties on each other. Between sharp muscles throughout them, and a three-way battle was joined, during which all the humans including warrior, perish. Although they're using alliance managed to inflict some serious casualties on the defeated sharp muscles. Some figures of the body that each creature moving across the speed 4 DC 15 movement save. Every move action or halt going among the blood bodies, recycling checks, separate minus 5 to constantly keeps your nose made when moving through the sea blood. We fall into the mass are partially covered with blood and gore, giving carnage in place, not even the free shower at vision of the room. Because of most of the carnage, it is impossible to tell that the room once contained a broken table with a 7 small tubes are standard throughout the area, as 8 to 10 were used in the standard buckets. There are many items, mostly cold and personal items, these storing sacks are scattered about the room amongst the bodies.
Temperature levels stabilizing.
Hiding place is also guarded by a spring-loaded protein dagger blade that flies out the blade will flat position. Closing itself is a face chest of the person opening the door. The blade is coated with green black oil that has lost much of its potency. Collapsing leadership shield. The door to the door is closed and has a front right inside. The wound closure do not enter. A large round ruby red crystal about the height of a man floats inside your finger some 3 feet off the ground. The ruby red crystal is the limit of the energy field that once held longer depth. It offers primary function when the thing is anchored that it still has enough energy to be dangerous should the intruder help to disturb the surface. The callers never touch it. Knowing there was something dangerous about it, the shooter was anchored and resulted so evident of huge energy. Disturbing energy field serves as a crystal magnet. Beat it down with touch using a ball, throwing it down, etc. Causing the particular field to collapse and itself and releasing the remaining energy by 15 foot radius all around the ruby. This release causes 3-4 points of force damage all within radius. Those carbon blasts have a DC 12 reflex rate to take away half damage. There is no way to disarm the energy field. The arm hallway. The look of this room extends beyond the edge of the light source. Here lies a fourth force, the rest of the wall, and open there flying octopus that has had 3 of its tentacles severed lies limp against the wall. The key to controlling this region lies in controlling this hallway, and it affords access to all the parts of the dungeon, and all are made as one of the key objectives of planning the assault. Although it is officially neutral, Cold realize the significance of the hallway as well as always to guard first in the back. Although numerically superior, the force has been capable of using the presence of the Waiters, Florians, brother, and Cold Wizard. However, as the battle is almost stronghold, the scene appears as extra enemies into combat, no way neither side anticipated. Numerous human and bestial dead lies in the hallway, including Orcish kobolds, a couple of Pintar Finsters, 2 Sharklings, and even some Pintar Rams. Due to the problems of this place, a numerous tasks for access, mission, roll for random encounters. Trouble cargoes. This room is completely empty. Although neutral by agreement, the Cold kept the room of guards here to keep an eye out of what was going on from room 819. The room attack all the guards roaming the hell on the hallway. This room has nothing in it. In the coffin, several skeletons of every size lie about the room, hands hanging off the mountains. The sun level is available, fortunately because we never notice. Given the isolated location of the room, it is ideal for disposing of bodies, while they are accumulating bees have and thrown here over a timber screen that is pale, high on the bones and rotten flesh. Secret throne room. This one room has a simple throne with carved stone situated near the eastern hand. It's a chain and iron rings hammered into stone and distance of red. Otherwise, there appears to be nothing of interest here. It is unclear who altered this room and used it for evil. The slaves were tortured here for real pleasure of whoever sat upon the throne. You can pick out numerous large rust stains on the floor. The throne is without features, save 2 red gems cut into the back. It has been hewn from some piece of rock. Just the right size for a war for a suicide speaker. Unfortunately, it's also cursed due to the whole beads that were perpetuated by Simon, and living creature that touches the throne is subject to the curse. It must succeed at a DC 14 willpower saving throw. Western Gallery. The sun door in the hallway is open. Read the following description. A number of skeletons from random creatures hang on the walls, spaced equally apart. Iron spikes visible below the mountains. After the beatings broke out hundreds of years ago, a circular portion of the dungeon ran over the islands. For a time, this room served as a gallery of torture. During this time, the wall was held a mountain corpse of the hero creatures from ground to now. Every humanoid in between since the time has been reduced. The corpses of skeletons make it more difficult to identify individual species in each. The exact composition of bodies is given. Any humanoid of large size available. Ogre, orc, dwarf, elf, halfling, etc. Familiar. Distracting visions. Haunted. Eat from gallery. The second door in the hallway is open. A number of skeletons from all these different creatures hang on the walls, spaced equally apart, iron spikes visible below their limbs. You may connect by skeletons, dried husk, and spider, a rugged carcass, obviously a zombie. You slay all these things. Getting close to level 11. Guard room. This room was served as living quarters for meat guards. Wood furniture once and was removed by orcs. Currently, 3 fiendish dark phantoms are relaxing here. They hang from the ceiling like large stalactites, and anyone that looks up at the ceiling can be able to notice them. Before they connect, you slay them. Gaining XP, getting closer to level 11. Guard room. A broken table is in the one item of interest in this room. This room serves as a home of guard captain, but any functioning printer was cleared and around even some time ago. The tables are the one that it has in the mountain. Scattered on the floor are tiny strips of paper pins on the drill along. Both their things were extended to avoid the area covering rooms and hallways in between. Almost destroyed on the heavy earthquakes that damaged the entire complex. Entire area is unstable. Chunks of the ceiling and dust like everyone were easy to hide in the difficult place to maneuver through. When the occasional timber rivals develop a portion of the complex, it causes more dust and blocks that fall from the ceiling, giving the entire area a sense of imminent annihilation. No creature originally meant its home here. That is not to say there are not currently some within 6 planet scavengers roam the area hoping to find an easy meal. A handful of returning refugees also hide in the area hoping to stay notice. The unstable and damaged condition of the area creates an interesting political situation for you and any creature that rely on land movements. The rebel that is shown everywhere winter will be dragged in time area. Each share moves possible. The rebel also prevents any land-based charges of room to drag the entire area. Finding land-based attempts to move sideways, such as line structure and tanks can be used to rock injured underfoot. Note, major tunnels in section have potential to connect structure tunnels, sections of rooms, block doors, etc., making it even more difficult to move through the area, or even get out at all. If the door connected is blocked by blocks that requires 1d20 minutes to clear the space for medium creatures to squeeze through. Empty room. The door to this room has been wedged largely open by the roof that requires a strength check to completely open. Rubble and dust covers the floor of this room anywhere from ankle to knee height. This room is empty except for the rubble. However, no the door and forces will likely to be heard by the clean sharp angles near 850 feet, keeping the DC something able to surprise these. Door angles stack. Again, and again, you don't know. Clean sharp angles, door angles. More finished angles stack. You select all of them. You do not get credit. Due to the dusty conditions of the room, the combination of the dark angle lighting, your movements necessarily has no more difficult for you to see. But we see the sharp and they almost have to you when you select them. Increase the miscounts to concealing by 10%, but 30%. You can still miss 30% of the time. Empty room. The earthquake caused the leak out of the door collapse as a result of the door by the DC floaty structure code, which is CNAC. Cells. All of these small cells are identical to the door of each is open in single restriction. Through the opening we see a small room, perhaps, or the cell, perhaps, only a closet relatively clear of rubble. Near reconstruction, these four cells have managed to escape the damage started by others in the area. Although they were empty that long ago, they are actively placed to be stripped of emerger as they provide complete protection within degree. If not, the mass of doors of these cells are open are fully functional. Prison. Level choke scenario has a mode in this room. Anything that may have been moved in this room is buried under the rubble that poses the activated weights. Story. The door to this room is partially open, rubble blocks it away, except for a narrow window wide open. Peering through the narrow ducture, you can see a number of open chests lying against the wall. This was both a storage wall for items of minor importance, small creatures, smaller incorporated items, the creature means items to see a DC 36 step that has to be existing open. A large creature no longer does not pass through. Attempts to widen the opening by function, especially if no artificial engineering or mining techniques of the entire day collapse unless properly short, up and how to go about doing so. If these skills are not able, then treat the threat of collapse as a following block trap. Ego has collapse darkness. Ego info barracks. This is a cobalt barracks. The rectangular sides are kobolds, and they are led by Bullet, who is always shooting range missile statue, which I have no chance to miss. Somehow you defeat all of them in the barracks. Taking on kobolds and waves. Riding lizards. Lizard mints. Playing fish mints. They are magical beasts. After slaying all the kobolds, hand out leader, Bullet Kick. A kobold wizard, you go through your quarters looking for anything about. You go through more of the quarters. You walk through their training wall. Some of the blocks of very size create almost nothing to the main blocks and all written. You enter the study, but there was a remote and hurry along the hallway for no more. Don't need the room 874 is handled over second color spray trap. The pallet sensor peaks out from the riddle in this otherwise empty room. Single chamber. There's a color spray trap here. Although the sensor doesn't riddle like all others, you can bend out images on the walls. Paint the room will be some furniture for 12 gold pieces, which you can put in bigger room for. You move to the assistant quarters, the dungeons are 60% less than others, although there is still a tank, and there's a room on the floor, a number of the skeletal, less red rooms securing back from the light. There's nothing back on, so. Assistant quarters. There's also some slight damage. There are still 2 relatively intact beds and a small cave releasing. This is a good place to rest. Consider the 2 collapsing walls. You successfully enter 2 collapsing walls. There's an exterior room. This large room shows some signs of deterioration. Those 2 doctors and intense skeletons of various sizes hanging moving from a number of manacles or pinched to the wall in various places. More skeletons lie on the floor. Their legs shackled via a chain with a large iron side as riveted against the wall. You attack the skeletons. You destroy it and you reanimate skeletons. Dividing the attic. The convoluted hallways in strange locations during the Celestial's dedication to minor roots within traps, building corridors where they need not to meet, restricting secret doors to areas of irrelevance and finding promise to fill emptiness that may be followed and confused the of the building for centuries. The lack of logic and straightforward access through the section of time and location for the treasure hunting activities of demons, the various twisting corridors of the traps and circuits both from a seven by long tail. After all, who would really something was convoluted and translating in the zoos about having something to hide. It was this area that the lines between the forts and machines altered as search teams stumbled upon other search teams on either side could truly tell who had the rights to the rooms. The situation is not held out at that time. Search teams on both sides were wiped out by traps, naturally leading each time to believe that I had killed them. Storage chamber. Running barrels, long crates, and great text, meters around that one lay all over the floor, a whole running 10 blocks of wall shows the way out. Storage room. Piles of dust, bird bones, into something unusual, trap, dodge. Fiendish surge test. More surges. We swing the surges. Gaining XP. 4 cards. The door to this room is open to or so I continue being in the doorway. Put this room keeping an eye out of hallways and north and steer door this. Put this room in the hallway more rapidly than the doorway are closed. The longer the exits of the courts out, although they try to hide it, and then obviously we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 here. Face 9 books. 7 battle hardened not to level 1. You were almost level 11. It's not an easy fight to have how these works so far to move that berserker. But in the end, you come out on top and you kill all 9 orcs. Finally, getting to level 11. Or ours is solitude. The door to this room is open. A massively built horse is constantly on the floor, staring into space. The corner of the room safely out of his reach to supply battle axe. He does not miss your approach. This is Orharm, head of the clan of orcs that followed all hail to this dungeon. Having watched and revived virtually all his kinds of naiad, rains, or hangs extra armies, this causes mind drift. No longer interested in anything. He spends his time in room often, private, readily, peas, or roast, and expects to die at any moment. You kill Orharm, and he doesn't stop you. He accepts death. And he was a being of such great magnitude that you instantly level up to level 12. You are now level 12 of your chosen class that you started in the beginning of your speaking. You'll walk there right now. Last time I played, you defeated the Order time or something like that, Order time, and got through long game system in menu. Now, you seem to have to find your way through the next part of the dungeon, which looks like it's going to be a Golden Empire. Let's find out together. As a goal, you want to hit level 11, or 12. So we're going to level 11 and level 12, very well. The Golden Empire, designed as the unlike other visions in this dungeon, became known as the laboratory, where celestials studied prisoners for the research of the nature of evil and understand how best to keep it in check. So, the place you're entering is a laboratory where you used to get when the celestials go to this part of the complex. It is a laboratory where angels torture demons to try and understand why demons are evil. Not only the celestials are archons and deity designed beings that in turn designed this complex for the purpose of torturing demons and beings and abyssal infernal creatures to try and understand what makes them evil. While many of the lawful good angels are archons found upon this planet, the lawful neutral and chaotic good parties are less survival. In the end, the main concern of blind eyes would not have a harmless experience to continue. My main reason for this region is a maze of roots and hallways, and remain unchanged over the centuries, and even following that chaos of the first earthquake. Though the heavens fled, and wars were sailed, some continents remained bloodthirsty, while the region did not change as drastically as others had. It did not escape unscathed. The air is dry, dusty, and moving, not unlike its home. You're walking through these claustrophobic hallways, through strange echoes and moans everywhere. There's vast supply of air through corners that invade intervals. It is once inhospitable and unnerving, now comes 3 on the races as well as damaged monkeys. And you have more to worry about than mere trash of music and other stormy visions. And the heavens here are the celestials natural trash of prove effective trash of their own. Triple air, cycling ways, and it tries to make navigating this region difficult for lower level people. But you have to get to level 11 themselves, not your odds. I would be drowning. Before the news visitors arrived within them, it came that it's only higher fewer celestials guarded against potential escape from demons inside, and angels stood vigilant against potential escape from demons inside. As the vigil against all manner of evil from within, after the earthquake, all that changed. When the majority of rooms were empty and the demons inside remained no longer any hope of escape, the region was abandoned. Many celestials lost their lives on the right side of the centuries that followed, and the city was sealed. The region was made. And while the angels looked away, creatures like it, and the region moved to right home where order was a common man's justice. Goblins of right and left, digging through whatever hallways in the time, following the Dara and Grab, however, been one of the most precious of them and had already been claimed, and the creatures were quickly pushed south. As the years went by, more and goblins arrived, and migration to the region became easier. Once they arrived, castle quickly and goblins skirmished with the bugbears and the bugbears, wolves and hobgoblins. They returned to their way of life and fights. They were territory and common, and goblin tribe made changes. Hundreds of years of warfare, the led the goblins straight into control of currency. No angel force ever stayed in power for more than a generation, as the goblin with its like 8 years, and the condition of the region is a state of flux. No matter what goblin king says, for centuries, the bugbears have fought a tooth hard war against the goblins and hobgoblins, never allying with either, and only seeking to rout out other races from the region. Their strength and their curiosity easily dominated the goblins in battle, and pushed the hobgoblins into the much forward region. They learned to use the trenches of celestials to their advantage, often loyal to less intelligent goblins in only the sheer number of goblin men packed and put by the hobgoblins granted, the bugbears controlling the dominating region, and the sole goblin remains. The hobgoblins turned with the souls to the goblins in the region, trying to maintain a strict control over the region. They tactics and strategies of town, but their numbers diminished. They are never able to claim more than a scant portion of the region. Once they ruled the northeastern portion of the dungeon, but their rule was cut short by the earthquake. The damage done to their enemy was staggering, and the ranks decimated as a result. They were forced back toward the center of the dungeon where they had been practicing goblins by their fence. The goblins led by their king, Sugits. In recent years, the Honor of noticed numerous raids in the region. Their sheer number has allowed them to hold their ground against the bugbears for centuries. Surprisingly, they had few overt clashes with the goblins. The bugbears were large enough to press their solar contingent, but hobgoblins stopped to look and notice. Over the years, the family has emerged, and uneasy tax has evolved. None reason I can take out of the progress. Recently, a full-time none before I had developed an alliance and bring orders in the region. If you pray the goblins, they tell you, a new god has arrived. The statue of the goblins lies beneath, is nothing less than Mount Silent. The goblins allies have champions to make their offenses. Some races have the state, and so the house. Some shaker, the Christian, sniper players, the goblins switcher, and even within their goblin power is unable. They multi-factor tribe, forming their own mental culture. The goblins have approached their great god, who raises them with power and terror, policies and justice and upon the enemies. Upon hearing news of this new the goblin king became enraged, as his king became entrained to the concept of goblin god. He sensed power and influence today, a close advisor to his destiny embraced the new religion. Set against the new round of his advisors, rose up and imprisoned him for heresy. 6 years ago, the goblin king lay and they cast up his magic advisor known as Atlas, assumed the throne. Proclaiming himself king and a messenger of God in one festival, he united some people of fortune and religion. One that could be used to create whatever laws he chose, no one willed and God. And while no one knew this, the new king systematically changed the entire goblin culture in a few weeks strokes, bending them in that direction, his crucial deals. The new goblin king was the soul, and his doppelganger. He wandered into this region less than a decade ago and used by goblins, lying with the highest form of his doings in his line, made doppelganger stand there. Soon he became an advisor came and not could be power, projected us easy. The sight of dreams, thinking about calling one, he kept the open and one side proof of this deep is how it seems. In truth, it is nothing more than the way where culture turns stone by a Christ, wounds the frightened by nothing creature, the goblin hides the pride and raised his arms over his head and meter to protect himself. It was in this code that he was most unfortunately put upon the against. Goblins have followed this interpreting exam, goblins' superficial expressions included in the and powerful goblins looking down on them, doing a favor and devotion. How could they explain this awkward statue? And the guilty goblins told him not king accessible. Religion had broken off and fallen resistance to they continue to follow their own religion and the size of the new king approaching from them not loving their opposition to the regime. The bugbears found themselves on the receiving end of ferocious attacks and unpaid should be soon after Atlas claimed the throne. The new goblin king has struck a pact with the hobgoblins that remain, and now they serve goblin king as instructors by his own forces. Using words and values as nouns, they figured past attacking on nothing goblins could even deceive us with their new ally and tactics and goblin goblins that didn't help the bugbears, a secret control of the military region. None of goblins at Atlas fight a cheap war for the first time in their history. The goblins will set up and bugbears and more ferocious and away at Atlas' empire, bit by bit, using every bit of coming entropy at their disposal. For all of the goblins, those goblins at Atlas are firmly in control of the region, dominated by iron fists of goblin empire and cannot be oppressed. What else? The region is all goblins and religions. In addition to goblins, under another beast called the region, giant wolves, people, and so many tribes of goblins can't see safe. More than a few people on the waters were trapped in this region, or in the time of earthquake. 4. Most parts of the native coral and the northeastern section of the dungeon were they brought in by the celestials after they left it. It should be the goblins were that should be here using after the earthquake. This region is home to a number of boom dogs. They can be found in the dungeon except for the remain of the goblin king. Here they are put as in the mountains. The boom dogs are mainly found in the northern and northeastern section of the dungeon. The most unique region of the dungeon king's mounts a net pattern. How it came to be crafted in this region is unknown. Short Commander Boggles runs the power. It around and he immediately charged his Commonwealth trespasses for capturing it and turned it into his crystal mounts. On most of the chances of containable and as of the night, some faithful puzzles that unwritten soul were successfully celestial hands, and it had enough Boggles has ordered more capture raids to the kingdom. Runs like somewhere in the dark is a Catholic nature searches for a powerful artifact that has slipped through the foundation's grasp. The Hathaway. Found throughout the region that Hathaway mentioned in the bottle of our life. It is very likely you will hunt again once before we find what you're looking for. Oddly, along with the goblins, other creatures that happen in the solitary Hathaway bottle. While the Hathaway normally is found, he is by no means stationary. There are chances to encounter him anywhere in the dungeon. How the Hathaway mentioned them is unknown. He is in league with the goblin king and searches for mysterious artifact of legend here held. While the goblins know that Hathaway, they don't know much. Any attempt to leave the race will capture goblin removes the Hathaway in the dungeon and make a system that he is attacked. Otherwise, they have to leave alone. I don't think it's all actually written. We have no reason to know, but that's the game for me. Turkeys. No, I don't really remember where I left off, so I'm just gonna pick up somewhere. It's already kind of late, so I'm gonna try to keep my voice down and talk softly. Oh, that would be camera. The microphone picks it up. This hidden room is in good repair. A single desk and chair and a large oak bookcase are the only furnishings. The desk is empty, but a number of small bottles are scattered over the shelves of the bookcase. A sliver of light spills out into the hallway from a crack in the wall. Soft grunting sounds can be heard from behind the wall. A sliver of yellow light spills out into the hallway from a crack in the wall. Grunting sounds can be heard from behind it. An oddly shaped room opens. In the middle of the room, set into the northern wall, is a stone door. The room contains no furnishings other than a stack of 4 strong boxes, one on top of the other. Whatever the sound was coming from is gone for now. The door leading to this room is locked. You use your open lock skill to open it. This is a simply furnished room with a small cot and table. Attach your pillow and blanket rests on top of the book, reek of mold and mildew. On the table is a shiny gold ring and a heavy book. There is a straight direwolf. You hear a low, deep growl as you approach him, cooking chamber ahead. A wandering direwolf stalks the hallways and hackles, raised its snarls at you, bearing its fangs menacingly from darkness ahead. Towards the back of this large room and closer to the wells, placing his reminiscence of a town's fair fountain. The principal difference is that the well has no additional water. In front of the well is a small sack with gems spilling out of it. When the room starts filling with water, you get the gems and escape the room. This rest of the room is furnished with hyacinths, golds, trophies, and more. Perhaps for a time for the bugbears. The walls are rough and covered in crude rooms and hairline cracks. The floor is sandy backly and scratched with bone litters. In the middle of the room is a squat white table with a large map placed on it. Around the room are 4 bugbears. The largest knows at you and reaches for his club. You fight the bugbears, all 4 of them, and kill them before XP. You're at level 12 right now? Well, you're getting close to level 13 if you're not level 13 already. That means you're level 14. You're something to be proud of. Right now, you're not something to be proud of, even though you are so badass. Did I mention you slayed those 4 bugbears? A secret door leading to this has not been found in centuries. It is completely flush with the stone. And even as you know that it's there, you have to pry it open. This room is cramped due to a large pedestal that takes up the center of the room. The top of the pedestal is covered in black velvet. In the center of the velvet is a single 5 block stone. Oddly, there is no dust in the room. Trying to get into the world's largest dungeon really makes me think a lot. It just seems like such a collage of unfunctioning descriptions, and it's very difficult to make this into a sensible piece in your mind. These are hidden things for the world members, and it has a lot of hype on the cover. Actually, buy a brand new copy, it will be around $200. We've had either bought a PS3 or an Xbox 360 gold at times. A large workbench stretches along the northern wall. Tools lie haphazardly on top and underneath it. Shelves lying against the western wall contain scraps of iron and massing copper. Off in the corner of the room are piles of leather and rope. This room serves as armory. Aside from various weapons that adorn the racks and shelves in this room, you can't help but notice a group of malnoids. 7, tall and covered in fur. They are soaring through debris of a pile of stone as they look to see you. You slay all 7 malnoids gaining XP, getting closer to level 13, probably if you're level 13 already. Empty barrels and empty shelves fill this room. A supply depot and seriously supplies by appearance. Many scraps of iron and leather and a few sticks are currently in stock. There is animal hides and blankets on the floor. You get the impression that this is a communal sleeping room for the remaining bugbears. The room feels safe and secure, and you can understand why the bugbears choose it. Fortunately for you, it is deserted at present. You came to the entranceway of their sanctum. A secret door can be found, found almost outerly rubble. Where is the floor of this room? Along the west wall are 3 separate doors based on the contents. It sticks as soon as the stone room for the inhabitants of the dungeon. This room seems out of place, while other rooms in a stretch of the dungeon are nearby. Empty halls are small, cramped cells. This room is cozy. A large goblin sits placidly on the center of the room, adding to the overall strangeness of the scene. His hair is white, perhaps from age, and his manner is calm and unobtrusive. This is a bugbear. You slay the bugbear. I'm going to say you're at least level 13 now. Congratulations. Herman Kent, region of Rotten Meat. This small room is dominated by an aging goblinoid. Even seated, you can tell he is well over 7 feet tall and massive fibrous muscles, waiting to snap. His hair is gray and molted, and deep scars line up the bugbear's face, chest and hands. Staring at you from his perch, his one good eye stripped his deep victories about you. He seems to be having the same trouble reading you as you have reading him. This is all Christian, and he would rather not fight you. What does that matter to you? You already stand for XP. Slay him. You slay all of him. So you'll be level 14 now, and true ass. Something to be impressed about. Gotcha. Fuck. This room is near that pedestal, many rooms in the dungeon. The only feature of this room should be, however, is a complete pattern of tiles on the floor. The tile is covered with the just however. It's difficult to see. The sphere's masterwork sphere has nothing more. It is spaced by before goblins, or tracking tension in the room, a long way down. This simple chamber is quite nondescript. It's a pair of high-quality long spheres, abandoned in the center of the room. 2 gems opposite walls stare back at you like a pair of red eyes. You take the spheres and gems as treasure. Storage. The door to this room is locked. Bugbear hideout. The door to this room is locked. The last line of defense. This room is large and appears empty. There's something about it that's fencing. There are no signs of goblins occupying this room, so it must still be aimed at the pain of the bugbears. Why they have chosen to leave it empty is a mystery, however. The last line of defense has already been abandoned. Refuge. Line of empty supply racks. This room feels safe and secure. Currently there is nothing in the room, aside from empty shelves. The Holy Goblin Empire. These rooms encompass the life of the Goblin Empire that has recently been forged by their new king, Argus, the Goblin King, and name of their new god. Must speak similarly and unknown to the rest of those who fill the area. The traps laid by the Celestials still work, and the goblins learned long ago to avoid the rooms that contain them. From these rooms, the goblins have unleashed a vicious war of conquest, retribution against the bugbears, and rebelled goblin faction. And the hobgoblins not accepted the offer to join Argus. No doubt they too would feel the goblins' wrath. The goblins are highly suspicious of newcomers and attack anyone on sight. Bugbears occasionally enter the Goblin Empire to wreak havoc. It would be difficult to execute directly, just listen to read through and pass the time either way, but trying to get through writing that's not really that comprehensible or good, and it still provokes some sort of a chemical reaction and injury in the mind, which is weird. The hallway is stretched before you. A group of goblins is the same guard. They have strangely well organized and well equipped. Each carries a short spear and upward, methodically patrolling the hallway, moving about 10 feet in each direction. You come across a goblin patrol. You slay the goblin patrol. Under the guidance of the hobgoblins, the goblin forces loyal Argus, the Goblin King, are quite formidable. They wield short spears and wooden bucklers, attacking foes in well-coordinated phalanx and injures. They advance on their enemies with the cold precision has been drilled into them by their hobgoblin taskmasters. The hobgoblins with their bar attack form an effective cavalry unit, known to unstained wards. The hobgoblins dart in and out of their foes, forcing them with rapid attacks. The bugbears and rebel goblins have not had success against the new tactics. The lightning attacks of the hobgoblins, coupled with the relentless attacks of foot soldiers, have proved to be an effective combination. There's a forward outpost. If the goblins this one room is an outpost for goblin patrols, nearly a dozen goblins know about. You're the truth that running, including weapons, and so on. If the goblins assist the patrol. If this long room is an outpost for goblins, the goblin reinforcers stand out of this room, leaving nothing behind. A few hinges are laid out in precise rows to sleeping. Now empty weapon racks nest against the western wall of the room. These are the typical chaotic goblins. They are well disciplined. There are usually about 10 goblins in this room. You slay only goblins. They don't appropriate slowly. They are one couple goblins. The people of the land are wounded. Some of the consequences of starting one that's a very good feelings to the legend wall. On the bed, something with the national break, various heavy patrols in a second. Lift everything that's roughly hand. Go after the cypress strip. The goblin Gala. The door to this room is locked. Stone chains and ankles hanging from the walls, and the cell is set in a within wall. Fanes fearful of roaming issues from the cell. This room serves as a detention area for anything captured by the goblin patrols in the section of the dungeon. The Gala is overseen by Haglar Quicklips. The door to the cell is locked. Huddled far in the corner is a frightened goblin. You startled by your presence and notice when he sees you. This goblin is named Lip. I remember from name. You slay Lip. He was only going to get murdered. You get to the next street. You enter the empty chamber of the Goblin King. You had to fight through goblin named Hammerfist to get to the Goblin King. You only kill an Hammerfist with quick precision. All of the goblins form a tight phalanx and move with deadly intent. A hobgoblin rushes madly, swinging his mallet with face at you. You slay the goblin phalanx and kill the hobgoblin. There were 15 goblins in the goblin phalanx. And Hammerfist of the hobgoblin is level 6. Of course, you almost level 14. You're almost level 14. Good for you. That's one of the walls. 2 larger braziers, as a sister, the evil blood. A former bow and turn came from the river. He the goblin King sits. He is dressed in a brightly vested pants, a velvet cloak hangs from shoulders. On his head rests a white silver crown, while he wields a multi-hued scepter in his left hand. Welcome friend, I am Argus, king of the goblins, and voice of the Arimitas. Stone shaper for the quick-thinking, smiter of foes. Stone shaper is binding together the same for great things, I am sure. Please, hear what I have to say, Goblin. The king intones as you approach it. His room is large and well appointed for goblins. Without the prompt circumstance of the Goblin King escorting hours, it looks like any room has been covered in hides. A pair of large braziers cast a ray glow at the rib, hanging off the brightly polished walls. In the center of the room is a throne of rumbling bones, resting upon his scepter. It looks like you slay Argus and level up level 14. And you gain access to his ward stable, and hounds. And those are riding wolves, so now you got some wolves you can ride. And this one you're terrified of a bunch of ghost goblins which you slay. You're level 14 now. And that concludes the Goblin Empire. You can sort of imagine yourself fighting through an entire empire of goblins. Don't really see anything worth reading here. So, it's going to conclude the Goblin Empire. Or saying you're level 14, so you should feel very accomplished with this section of those many writings.
Alright, we're going to be continuing. I think we're level 14 right now. So, I think what we're going to do is the final option, and you're going to be taking on a demon, I think, so be cautious. The entire region was designed specifically to hold a powerful demon. I'm going to try to read this. The demon's name is Our War 2 logo. Though this was of primordial importance, several groups of minor demons and lesser undead creatures were also held prisoner here. When the cataclysm that shook the entire dungeon hit, most of these fiendish minions escaped, but the special cell in which a mighty demon lord who was imprisoned remained completely intact. Over the years, several groups of explorers and settlers came to the region, but the great demon cell remained undisturbed and undiscovered. Approximately 50 years ago, the last remnants of Order Myroon were summoned here for mysterious reasons, yet only Myroon, an ancient goddess of the oceans, travel, and vigilance, knows why they were brought here, basically to face their inevitable demise. It is still possible to piece together much of what went on during their stay. However, for the remnants and records of the forgotten paladins of Myroon can be found buried here. Most of these fragments of information are well hidden, but clues are scattered throughout the region. Perhaps sensing the crumblings of the prison wards, my room instructed the remaining worshippers and servants to assemble in this region of the dungeon. No one knew why they were brought together in the bowels of this forgotten place, except for the fact that they would be instrumental in turning the tide at undetermined moments. Most were paladins and priests of the clay. Only the wizard Arum did arrive without being summoned, claiming he dreamt his destiny. When the final pilgrim arrived, 41 men and women occupied the garrison established. It was widely believed by those 41 inhabitants that they were the end of the line of the tradition of worshippers of my room. So they waited without further explanation. When the prison vault of Fallen from below was broken, that's the name of the demon we're going to try and be hunting. Or I don't know, something like Power-Tulago. This prison vault was broken open. My room was some deity that had going to be helping reveal her plans with the exception of our Arum. I don't know if this guy's might become like what he's already dead. They were all asked to give their lives to fight a powerful demon that escaped. I'm not going to be asking you to give your life to fight this demon. I think you can take my level 14. You did just slay a new deity of the goblins, the god king of goblins, Atlas. You killed him last session. So if you can kill Atlas, which was a goblin god king, then I think you can take on a escaped convict demon personally. Let's find out. Arum's tale of the battle is recorded in only one place. It's the Saul account. The Saul account, the last battle, is subsequent to demise of the servants of my room. Since Arum was its only living witness, the wizards can't be found. It is important to note that ethereal travel is possible, and to a powerful expert wizard Arum a few months after they arrived, the boundaries of the ethereal pocket are roughly 100 feet in every direction from the altar, and are clearly visible if the subject can see objects in the ethereal plane. So if any of you guys have ether sight and can see ghosts, you might be seeing a lot of them in this demon prison that we're going to be going into. A lot of people die here, and there might be a lot of lost spirits in the ethereal plane, lamenting their lives and deaths in this region. Though if they're in the ethereal plane, that does not necessarily make them ghosts. Ghosts are capable of actually moving objects and attacking you. And an ether spirit, it's just a hallucinogenic experience that you can witness if you have ether vision or ether sight. And it's not really anything impressive about ether sight, unless the ethereal spirit you're witnessing has some sort of important information, and usually they do not. We're going to be moving through the forgotten paladin garrison. When the knights, paladins, and priests of my room were summoned to the dungeon, they established a base of operations for the garrison in the rooms. Though none of the servants of my room survived, evidence of their passage is evident throughout the area. It was my room, a minor goddess of oceans, travel, and vigilance, who summoned her last worshippers to the region of the vast dungeon prison. At the time, those who answered the goddess's call did not know what was expected of them. They stayed here for more than 3 years until one day their purpose was finally revealed to them. Moments before the vile demon imprisoned in the room broke free, the last servants of the goddess of my room willingly gave up their lives to help an angel destroy the demon, called Power-Tulago. What? I thought we were going to explain this game. What I just read? An angel already did that. Well, let's hope this area still has some significance. None of the wizard Arum who was with them knew of their sacrifice, but were it not for the brave men and women of the order of my room, the demon would have unleashed his wrath upon the whole world, forgotten the room. A broken table lies in the crumbling, indiscernible remains of this otherwise empty room, oddly enough this room is not saturated with the same dust as others in the area. It's an eerily quiet, and the walls are unwashed, former storage room. A few broken chairs line the edges of this room. Appears as if the chains were stacked there, but the wood is rotted and worms infested. Fearful filters lair, secret door, solid stone door, indistinguishable from the wall. Massive door spins on vertical. Central spindle, so pushing the left side of the door, as the right side swing upward. As the door of this chamber opens, a stench is released. Darkness and flecks of reflected light sparkle and shine. A closer look reveals a dark shape moving slowly as more twinkling light appear. This is the home of a large ethereal villager. Oh, no. There is something in the ethereal realm that can attack us. I was wrong. This creature arrived at the prison sometime after the wizard Arum. Successful experiments gathered quite a collection of coins, gems, battles, and shiny objects over the years so that we can travel outside the ethereal pocket. Its survival instinct prevents it from leaving for extended periods. This thing is capable of attacking us. It chooses not to, because it also feels threatened by our presence, so it stays in the ethereal realm and lets us pass. However, you already know a spell to force it out of the ethereal realm, and you don't want a dangerous thing lurking in this room, so you force it out of the ethereal realm and banish it from reality, gaining some speed. You go to a small shrine. The floors and walls of this room are surprisingly clean, but the most prominent feature is small, old shrine standing neglected against the eastern wall. Simple wooden shrines engraved with an ancient symbol. The followers of my room used the small shrine to meditate in quiet and solitude. Good, aligned, feel comfortable, at ease. When they enter the chamber, all good, rest for at least 1 hour in the room, and are blessed. They benefit from the effect, and spend another 12 hours at the shrine. It is good, aligned, and you are blessed for spending time here. You feel twice as good as you normally do. You enter into the main temple. An intolerable stench escapes from the door of this chamber. Temporarily dulling, opulence of high vaulted ceilings and painted walls inside the place. Powerful stench is enough to make even the strongest dwarf embellish in disgust. It is a horribly decayed entire rat corpse in the corner that contributes to the odor here. There's some sort of ooze known as a slimy goo that tries to attack you. Probably light on fire or something, because I don't know how well weapon damage is on oozes, or maybe you have some way of shooting the magic missile at it. But you destroy that ooze, I was thinking. And you continue. Gaining XP, former armory, locked and trapped, no doubt. Didn't have time for a former armory. Just probably not even got any functioning enchanted armor's armor or anything, so just passive. Former assistant's office. Former commander's chamber. Former commander's meeting room. Fake door. Former store. Former common room. Large meeting room. Former meditation chamber. There's a meditation chamber, might as well meditate for a little bit. Several thick woolen blankets are lined up on the floor of the small room. The blankets are dusty and rotten. The walls of this place were painted with a soothing green shade. The cracks of the guns appear, and otherwise the smooth surfaces revealing dark bedrock behind. So I guess we won't be meditating in the former meditation chamber. Won't be meditating here after all. As the former barracks, entering to the cottage maze. If only we had a minotaur here. Minotaurs are never lost and always have a sense of direction. Mazes can be very frustrating and confusing places. The walls here are worn, four doors turn sharply at random intervals, or end abruptly. In addition, sounds so frighten the walls, muffling footsteps and speech. You get attacked by magical creatures that look like giant roaches. You slay the giant roaches, they're still only about the size of dogs or cats, probably 9 of them total. You gain XP. Former guard post. The moment it always lashes turn, swings inward as a giant pendulum attached to the ceiling descends. Inside along the north wall, there are 6 nail holes, some 6 feet off the ground, resting on its side in the southeastern corner in an old wooden chair with 3 legs. Former spout farm room. 2 great stone chairs face each other across the wide room as if it was waiting for opposing generals to sit and watch their champions compete. The chair to the west resembles a sailing vessel, the back support being a large mast with 2 crossbeams and armrests tapering into the semblance of a prow. The chair is to the east shaped to look like nothing less than a tsunami, curled back upon itself and preparing to douse whomever sits in its path. Both chairs are set about 10 feet in front of their respective walls. There's an insanity mist vapor trap. You accidentally triggered insanity mist and inhaled insanity mist. And you'll have to make fortitude and will saves to try and avoid going into a temporal state of insanity from insanityness. You come out of your delusions and your insanity, and all your hallucinations of things that weren't really there subside, and you go back into a normal state of mind. Large Merle room. The rows of goblin and gnoll statues arranged in this room contrast with the most dark and empty rooms of the area. There are also several murals painted upon the walls. The north wall shows a knight in a shining golden armor, standing at the bow of a ship, looking out into the endless ocean. The west wall depicts a battleship and a coiled sea circle as a bolt of lightning comes down from the sky to strike the serpent. The east wall shows a breathtaking picture of a beautiful woman looking out at calm sea and sunset as if waiting for the return of her beloved. These murals are magically protected. And the painting itself is afraid that you might damage it, so it summons gnolls and gargoyles to attack you to try and kill you so that you don't have any opportunity to damage the painting, because the painting itself wants to survive on its own and it magically summons gargoyles and gnolls. That is G-N-O-L-L-S, gnolls. They're like jackal-headed little monsters, and there's about 12 gargoyles and 10 gnolls, and you slay and destroy them for XP, and you're getting good XP, by the way. You should be level 15 relatively soon. Path of Destruction. The demon imprisoned in the room had many names. His true name is still unknown, and this perhaps is the main reason he has been so consistently elusive. For the sake of reference, however, he is most often referred to as Falor Tulago, which translates into common as the clever Ash, or Ash the Trickster. In addition to his ability to escape imprisonment of any kind, Ash is renowned for being a malicious tormentor, so we're not going to call him Falor Tulago, we're going to be calling him Ash, because Falor Tulago is a difficult name to say in common speech for us anyways. We can't keep on saying Falor Tulago, we're going to get that confused, so we're just going to call him Ash, because we're going to turn him into soon. He was a demon after all. He's a demon. Ash was found by a group of angels and captured. He was then transported to the cell's entry chamber after its completion. The demon offered a little resistance until the last moment when he pushed a solar angel named MRNTL, a solar angel. They're really powerful solar angels. Solar angels are about 3 levels more powerful than the Terrestre, or so it is written. And this solar angel's name is MRNTL. I think they usually have TLs, and that's the last parts of their names sometimes, so it's MRNTL, the solar angel. If he's looking to challenge rating 23, we should probably avoid him at this time, unless we be completely destroyed with the damsel our soul, or imprisoned in the demon prison that we are in. Or we move the hell out of TL. Let's call him TL. Solar angels are very powerful. MRNTL, which means unfading vigilance in the celestial tongue. He knew there would be no escape from the cell. He accepted his imprisonment of fighting to subdue Ash in order to hasten the freezing process. Though unable to prevent one chain from attaching itself to his body, MRNTL redirected the other 7 chains to attach itself to his body. MRNTL. And Amarantiel. And it could be Amarantiel. I just noticed the word rant is in the middle of his name, and the first part is just Amarantiel. Amarantiel. Kind of sounds like I'm not going to rant to you. I'm not going to prepare speech, and a rant is only prepared to say at you. This is what solar angels do, they try and talk you into a corner. But Amarantiel thought his unjust investment would be spent in a quiet contemplation. If Amarantiel thought his unjust investment would be spent in quiet contemplation, he was quickly corrected by Ash, or Falor Tulago. From the first hour of their confinement, Falor Tulago initiated a telepathic dialogue with Amarantiel. over the centuries of their telepathic dialogue back and forth with each other, since that's all they really had to do is communicate telepathically with the warden and the prisoner, because that's all they had to do. They were completely confined to a cell with each other, a solar angel and some demon of some power, but they formed a telepathic dialogue and started getting to know each other, Amaranthia and Falotugelo. Telepathic dialogue with Amaranthiels over the centuries, since they talked for centuries. Who knows? Action-embedded thoughts and voices into Amaranthiel's mind, convincing him that Angel had been falsely imprisoned. During the last 100 years of their imprisonment, the demon twisted his soothing words into Amaranthiel believed Ash and other solar angels. So it looks like that's how Falotugelo escaped. He avoided hundreds of years of imprisonment and just made him lose it and be confused over why was he here. For as long as the solar angel is keeping him prisoner, he's a prisoner himself. Well, he has to keep on watching the demon through all that time, a century. The final key to unlocking Ash's prison came when the wizard Arum arrived a decade or so ago, because Arum was going to slay Falotugelo under the orders of the lesser deity or goddess Myrun, and that's when everything fell apart, it looks like. Arum built a laboratory, and Ash took the opportunity to speak telepathically with the wizard, and probably drew Arum insane too. So it's not used to be good, so long as that demon is projecting thoughts into his head, he's just quite mad. He's an insane man, A decade or so ago, Arum spoke telepathically. Beloved the demon, the false imprisonment angel. The demon Falotugelo was placed in a cell of the prison complex. The demon told Arum it was impossible for him to gain freedom without also setting the demon free. Arum was warned against having anyone they had spoken to prevent the possibility of someone freeing the angel, because it would also release the demon. Ash's steadfast refusal of all offers of assistance lest the demon be set free convinced Arum that the voice in his head was the angel Amaranthiel. Posing as Amaranthiel, Ash asked nothing of the wizard but occasionally conversed with Arum. During his studies, these conversations became frequent as Arum asked Ash for advice on magical theories and practices while working in his lab. Work out the creation of magical weaponry that Ash set in motion, a plan that he would lead to inevitable release. Arum complained about spending too much time maintaining his forge to generate sufficient heat, and his research was suffering because of it. Ash suggested placing wards on the front of the forge to reflect the heat back into the walls. A higher level of heat would then be maintained. Not coincidentally, this would also focus a great amount of heat on the stone walls surrounding the prison. Arum, however, did not know how close he was to Ash's icy prison cell. It was this mixture of intense cold from the prison and constant heat from the forge that eventually cracks the wall separating the rooms, and melted the ice to the water, which flowed away back to the forge. And as the wall was weakened, Falotugelo and Amaranthia broke free. When Ash and Amaranthia broke through the wall of the prison, the members of the Order of Marunda, I don't know who the Order of Marunda is, it could just be a translation of a different language's interpretation of the Order of Ivory, or it could be something different but similar sounding name. The brave followers of Marunda fought the demon. Arum used a number of illusions to trick Amaranthiel into activating his true sight. It was then that the veil was lifted from Angel's eyes, and Amaranthiel now understood the nature of Ash's trickery. The paladins of Marunda gave their lives to allow Amaranthiel to see through the demon's trickery. Their sacrifice allowed the angel to regain his senses and slay the demon. The events leading up to the final confrontation between the demon and Amaranthiel is recorded in Arum's account of the battle. And we walk through Arum's former laboratory and the broken prison of Falotugelo. And it looks like this could have been whatever happened with Arum and Falotugelo and Amaranthiel. Whatever that was all about, it could have been the source of the earthquake, which caused such a huge, all the rubble and debris that we've been passing, and it looks like this part's already deserted. But what amount of lore, I think just from passing through the place or setting of such a massive event between a solar angel and a demon of some sort that was definitely telepathic and a prisoner. Whatever this wizard Arum got was just sort of passing through this eye of the storm. You level up to level 15. And we're going to be entering into some caves next time, so make sure to be ready for some spelunking, because it's all going to be caves next time. You're level 15 now, and if I were you, I'd still avoid the solar angels, because they're very dangerous. Alright, so for level 15, there was an earthquake. There was talk of some sort of demon and a solar angel. And by the sounds of it, the solar angel is under the demon's influence right now, and that might be why the earthquake happened and why everything is shattered. So we're going to be going into the Tarkarian depths, and we can only hope that before we meet up with this solar angel, that you get more than 5 more levels. I said we'd just be taking you to level 20, which some people consider the max level of a character in Dungeons & Dragons, or maybe the final age you will be willing to play Dungeons & Dragons has. But if you were going to solo this boss, which could be the final boss, it would make sense for a solar angel under demonic influence to be the final boss in this sort of a game where if we're going to be slaying or defeating a solar angel, you're going to need to be at least 8 levels higher, or you're going to need to have some sort of foolproof plan that you can engage to defeat the thing, and hope, if you're lucky, everything works out. So we're going to be going into the Tarkarian depths of the Zillmaster. Zill, from what I can remember, are a humanoid insect species. So when we say insect species, that might just mean really humanoid insects. That either means they're really tiny people or they're people-sized and have exoskeletons, which is that their exoskeletons are on their outsides instead of on their insides. And when you think about it, it's kind of hard to understand what any of the terminology means, but they're called Zill. And I don't know if they're friendly or not because we're just going to be going around slaying them as we encounter them. We're going to be auto-targeting and just killing these things until we can get 8 more levels so we can kill that solar angel under demonic influence. Because I think that's what we're here to do. So let's just start hacking away for some description. Okay, there's some talk of this guy, Chitrax. Chitrax is a diabolic Zill of such caliber that society willingly cast him out to wander the planes for the remainder of eternity. So he's going to be plane shifting and walking from different planes, so he's got elementals, and I don't know what taking that. He was exiled to different planes. You think there'd just be one. Desperately seeking revenge, and no one ever likes being exiled. The Zill searched for a good way to destroy his people outright. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. In the course of his roamings, he came upon information which confirmed the existence of a malevolent exiled god, Astra-Kor. The Undying, a terrible threat to the stability of the planes set free. Oh wow, these things get worse. The exiled god, well, I guess this exiled god may or may not be as dangerous as a solar angel, because Heartless was already a god when God came, and he wasn't really that powerful. You'd think the minimum level for a god would have been 20, I think in 3.5, it is 20, you have to be at least level 20 to become a demigod, and it looks like the campaign we're playing through, that's not true. It looks like a god is just a template they can add on to things in this campaign, or adventure that we're walking through. There is no evidence of this exiled god's existence, so this is all just rumors. Nothing concrete, nothing to substantiate, no clues, no evidence of it. There is talk that there is this exiled god, I believe we just heard his name, Astra-Kor, or something like that, it's just called Astra. The only way to reach this god, Chitrax realized, was through the mighty power of a wish spell. Moreover, the Zill knew where he could find one at minimal cost. Aware of the world's largest dungeon and its original purpose, he suspected the devil's vault to still contain the powerful pit fiend named Kitor. Wow, pit fiend, honestly? Wow. I guess you would need to slay a pit fiend first before you got to a solar angel under demonic influence. You would probably need to slay a pit fiend or a battle before getting to solar angel. Wow. I always forget about those. His name's Kitor. Yeah. In my plan to be certain, Chitrax has been especially careful not to reveal the truth behind his goals, for he knows reaching the walls of the visit would surely result in the deaths of all his servants. The wicked Zill traveled a myriad of material planes, but Atlas, for all his searching, he could not locate the place. Might be a typo. I think it's supposed to say alas, or maybe it does say alas, but alas, it kind of looked like Atlas when the font is all shiny and pixelized. You can't really specifically make out the details per letter of the word or sentence. You're sort of guessing at it. To me, it looks like it says Atlas, but maybe that's just what we're thinking. It's also amazing how we can't really keep track of the words we say at each other, and how much of this is just fulfilling the air with one's voice. Yes, I think it was alas. Why do you say but alas? I have to look up the technical usage function of the word alas. A number of dusty tones spoke eloquently of it. In frustration, he tortured and maimed the many a sage and scholar in his efforts to locate the massive complex, until finally, when brutalized, the soul gave him a name, Alchemang. Even Chitrax hadn't heard of this ancient lore master, but he had believed, like most beings in the planes, the old man dead. He quickly tracked down the sage, finding him deep within the astral plane. That makes sense. Of course it's going to be there. After torturing the old man for 2 years, the sage finally revealed the location of the dungeon. Not trusting information, Chitrax took the crippled scholar with him. When they finally reached the sprawling complex, he killed the old man and left his bones to rot on the surface before descending into the dungeon's tunnels. Unable to locate the vault on his own, he suspected it remained concealed and intact. He also realized he could never hope to uncover the vault on his own, as the labor would be too overwhelming for just the one creature, so he turned to the Duro. Those are deep dwarves, I think. Duro, for assistance. In their warrens, they had uncovered extensive veins of true silver, a substance especially useful for controlling and containing devils. That makes sense. True silver would be used for infernal purposes. That makes a lot of sense, actually. And deposits of adamantium. 2 things Chitrax knew. The Celestial was used to create the vault holding the fiends. With the recent geological instability, more and more clues revealed themselves to the malicious, self-serving Zill, turning suspicion into solid evidence. Before the inevitable assumption of control over the Mad Duro, Chitrax approached a trapped Vormian queen. I have the Zill word Vormian. I'm sorry, I got Zill and Vormian confused. But just disregard everything I've said about their species. Weakened and injured from a costly war with the Duro, and desperate to be back in touch with the hive on her native plane, the Zill's honeyed words swayed her, and she agreed to transfer control over her most trusted mire marks. In exchange for her freedom, the Zill lied, of course, and murdered her in the shadows of an obscure cave with her eggs all around her, stealing her essence and trapping it in a special phylactery. I think I'm saying that right. Phylactery. I've seen the word before, but it's something I should probably look up. Phylactery. Considering the unusual nature of the region, Chitrax organized his minions with brutal efficiency. He commands the entire operation, answering to none. Serving him are 3 Vormian mire marks, I think those are like matriarchs, and they just have a specific word for their matriarchs, which are my remarks. And his responsibilities, about Great Hall, about extravagant Great Hall maybe, his responsibilities include procuring stone golems from the known, positioning the golems at checkpoints throughout the complex, and maintaining existing ones. Also serving him are squads of 4 men warriors, some of whom ride gorgons. These guards oversee extraction caverns, patrol the tunnels, and ensure traps and sentry towers are in working order, and so on. She tracks not content with the true silver extracted by another meter marks, crows, started drilling into the Great Hall for the more true silver, entrusting the operation in addition to responsibilities for security. In fact, the Great Hall has transformed from the region's central nervous system to a massive drill, refinement, and transportation site. Hence, security is thinner there than it was just a few short weeks ago. The second meter mark controls security and excavation of the northern mines. With the recent waves of plague and road-zilla ambushes, the place has collapsed into chaos. Furthermore, the mirror mark here does not trust as the master and bides his time, waiting for proof of his suspicion to service. Most of the remaining labor there were to build a giant bore to expedite mining. Why would you build a giant bore to mine things? I don't know. The last mirror mark oversees excavation. A typical extraction crew consists of a taskmaster, a master, bearer leaders, a lesser servant, 3 handler crews, 3 teams. Each crew handlers controlling the following. I can't read any of those words. Each monster digging team crushes the rocks, and teams are responsible for removing the rubble. 2 teams are composed of the Grimlock Swordsmen and Durgar slaves. Durgar, that's the word I was looking for. Those are the deep dwarves. I don't know what Durgar are. Just I think Durgar in it. You didn't even put to the Durgar because you thought they were Durgar. Oh, that's understandable. The deep dwarf soldiers. This crew uses magic device created by the evil known to test the depth of the rock, search for dead crews that were mining, and see if they're still alive. Material compositional changes. Their efforts are dangerous and futile. It's dangerous to use the device because it occasionally unleashes crackling electricity, nearly always vaporizing a slave or 2. It is futile because the device only has an accurate range of about 5 to 10 feet due to the bolt's inherent warping nature. Fortunately, the recent collapses and instability of these excavations severely reduced the Euro's main structure, allowing Chitrax to ingratiate himself easily. Slipping past the Patronus and the xenophobia that describes the psychology of the degenerate race, he rose quickly through the ranks to become the trusted advisor of the only remaining high savant, eventually supplanting the leader and taking control of the entire region. Wow. I have to really think that when I play Dungeons & Dragons, I really don't like being story told after 20 minutes before starting an adventure. Well, yeah. We're in caves now, in caverns. There was a crawling a large room from before when we realized all this stuff is happening around us, not this prison was fragile, all this stuff, and we went into the crack to see where it was exposed to, and so we're in caves now, in caverns. This is also very familiar. With a sentry tower standing on the broken plain is that 100-foot tower instead of a roof. A large spike bears an impaled effigy of an unrecognizable humanoid. 3 base reliefs of demonic faces decorate the surface of the structure. On the brows of each of the faces is bright blue, red, and yellow gemstone, each about a foot in diameter. Aside from the open maws and spilling reddish fluid, perhaps blood, there are no entrances into the building. You see scattered piles of broken bones littered in the vicinity, some partially submerged in the crimson runoff. And as soon as I heard that there were gems in the statues, it really made me realize a huge difference in these games is that when the game is already prepared to give you the story that you want at any level, and everything is scaling to you, then there's really no reason to actually get level up, it seems. All you need to do is run and, auto-lock the target and just say, yes, you would like to do this thing, and otherwise you're just going to be locked down into a whole bunch of microtransactions, just non-stop microtransactions. Wow. And then once you're doing a whole bunch of microtransactions, it's just so the code vibrates more, or the connotations to the technical use of words said vibrates more, and wow. Like there's a tower, there's a statue, there's another tower, going through caves, mag scroll, trapped column, trapped gates, we're in caves, old mines, encampments in a cave, encampments in a cave, they live in caves. Trapped hallway by birds, we're in caves. Intersection in a cave. Scythe gauntlet, that's left open for interpretation. Hastily patched hole, we're in caves. Burrow in caves. There's other things already burrowed there. Encounter, giant mall monsters, slay them, XP. Clay out mine. Flow, there's a river of flow, water. Don't drink from it, it's probably poisonous because it's not for you, avoid it. Magma methods. Methods are like holies, demonic, slay them. Steam method. Well, that seems slightly less ready than a magma method and slightly less demonic, but still a method. Slay it. That's how this game goes. And then force you to roll dice and keep track of health going up and down based on word, thought, interactions, and you get experience from that. And in this part of the cavern is the dead. All the dead are in this part of the cavern. You walk over all the dead bodies in this cavern, you're in a cave, you're underground, and it just seems like there's everyone already dead in this part of the cavern, and you're just walking over all these dead bodies, there's just piles and mounds of dead bodies, and you're just like, whoa, that's too many, it's too many, it's just too many dead bodies. there's a magical barrier. You find some way to dispel it, and you continue. Storage cave. Wow, I would have never thought of using a natural cavern complex for storage. Psychology you take with you. Our inventory is unlimited. I move all everything that was stored in here, even the useless stuff, into my inventory. Barrel one. I think there might be demons. I don't know what they are, but I keep slaying them. We're going through all these different encampments, slaying everything in these encampments. They're all mining encampments, and we don't even care because otherwise we're just mining. We just let us slay them. We just don't have any other options. And they're worth the XP to us. Everything has an XP value over it. You just smash it, you slay it, you crush it. Or break it in. Miners, they're only armed with mining equipment. You've got magic and bows and arrows and swords that shoot other swords out of them. You slay them. How long are we going to be? We're getting XP, we're getting XP. Unstable tunnel. Stone giants, that was boss battle, stone giants. Those are so easy to kill than stone golems. Oh, next room, stone golems. We're going to take twice as long. The sounds of industry. Weird lights and ghastly shadows filling the walls of this 30-foot-long tunnel. Pounding noise of metal clanging on metal, echo up ahead and making the tunnel inordinately loud. Otherwise, the tunnel is as dark as it is ordinary. There are some guards. You dispose of the guards. There is a factory with cavalry houses, a major operation, swords of Duro, work at various tables and forges constructing weapons, tools, carts, and rails, more insect men, sand at locations throughout the room, overseeing the operation. Inside the room is a stone golem, obviously built from petrified humanoids. How could a stone golem be built from petrified humanoids? So they were already turned into some kind of statue. A crucible, where a liquid repellent and other metals bubble, spitting sparks and belching toxic fumes, lights the room with a struggling, inconsistent warmth. Ahead of the tunnel leads to a large pattern of several buildings and timid, toiling and slaves. You pass several boundaries in this part of the cave. These boundaries are built out of the natural stone, and where all the stuff that's mined is taken. None of this was part of anybody's idea. Someone just took advantage of the general cataclysm that was happening, and it's naturally creating a cavern complex. Wow, the names of this cavern complex that we're naturally carrying up Earth are so fortunate for these native beings that escaped out of prison to go mine. Okay. A lot to react to. You're in a great dining hall where all the miners would, this was lunchtime up in the hall, and they eat. Or if they have specific times for eating, more than just once per day. But it looks like they have a massive, the size of a air hangar, or it's larger than a stadium in size, their dining hall for the time they do all the miners eat at the same time. And it's just a massive, massive event. Well, eventually we find a light at the end of the tunnel, and you just take that light out of the tunnel. There might have been, something that is blocking the tunnel exit is a massive boar that we need to kill. So we kill the boar, and we exit the tunnel. So now we're out of this massive cavern complex. And on our own, we're looking to get out. Oh, yes. We are now outside of the cavern complex. After killing all those slaves and miners and insect men, we are now level 16. We are out of the complex, out of the cavern complex. And we will be entering into the last stand, because even though we're out of the caverns and the mines, we're actually still, for some reason, it's still just like in the middle of one dungeon. And I was just, we just sort of trying to see where this naturally forming cavern complex was going, and we got some XP from it. We slayed a lot of weird insect creatures and a lot of things with very pointless lives, and we're level 16 now. We're level 16. A few more of those, and we might be able to, beat this demonic solar angel, or the solar angel under the influence of a demonic agenda. Because I think that's what this is all about. So we'll see how this goes if we can actually get over the level 20 and survive. So, we're just glad to not be in caves anymore. Caves are weird. Caves are weird. Huh. So we're not in caves anymore. We're level 16, trying to get through all this. The last stand, this is it, you guys, the last stand. Hodgepodge of sections, each fighting for control and uneven battle to dispose the current celestial garrison of the Nebules. These are machines, we're going to be fighting robots now. We fought a whole bunch of insect people and miners and caves. No, this is the last stand, so that you guys, we're fighting machines now. It doesn't go past machines, that's science, technology, the form of humanoid. This has to be it. We're fighting machines. These things aren't real, they're machines. And this is it, the last stand. Illumination. The Celestials who man the garrison know darkness is ally of evil, so they fill this region, the heart of the garrison, with magical light sources. Unless otherwise specified in the description, every room in this region has a continual flame lantern built into the ceiling at the center of every 10-foot square. This provides complete and total illumination. In the room, where the continual flame torches still function, but overall time, since some of the magic feeling the torches failed, has been dispelled, or the lantern has been destroyed. Certain abnormalities are described in the various room descriptions. There's a bunch of wards and glyphs. There's all these floating wards and glyphs. I would think of a ward as some vibrating noise hard to make out, like a spell that once said sort of vibrates in the room very quietly and is difficult to hear, but if you were actually listening, you could have heard the ward that was in the room as Western glyphs. So those are written arcane marks, which you can search for. So we go into the entryway. Some pretty glyph explodes. Those glyph of warding the such opposites apparently can be of each other. There was an explosion in the entryway. The last thing, fighting inevitables, is a term for machine humans. Inevitables makes sense actually. It is inevitable. Trying Hall, more traps. Divining room. Robots can learn divining. Temple. The robots have built in their own temple. Temple living quarter. There's a necromancer. The necromancer is working with inevitables. He went into a crypt to fight the necromancer. So we're fighting him on his ground now. We seem overpowered enough for level 16, we can take the necromancer. Throne room. Wish there was good enough trigger to loot, but we're descended for the next speed. Crudely inserted throne made of stone fragments and debris dominate the center of this large dark room. This is a not good throne room. Parts of the room is littered with desecrated corpses and rubble. Clearly many creatures died here. As you enter, soft moaning reverberates around the room. I see a large shadow form that erupts from the throne, its eyes glowing bright red. Boss battle, I think. When you're fighting a shadow, resist their axes. Your greater shadow. Medium undead. Somehow you slay that shadow. That shadow is destroyed you can defeat. Hidden library. Two gleaming orbs are suspended from the ceiling, bathing the entire room in a warm glow. This room is filled from the ceiling to floor with books of all, which are in good condition without dust. This room has a feeling of being untouched. It is as lonesome as a tomb. It still was a hidden library, and it was warm to the touch. Room, smithy, ward staff room, quarters for the Lord High Marshal, Sereneth, Finidar's quarters, Finidar's workshop, first hall of portraits, entire hallway of portraits, paintings. Maybe they're magically enchanted. I hope not. Last time I went to just walk through a bunch of magically enchanted portraits. Second hall of portraits, dang. Traps portrait all this time, they are magically enchanted portraits in the room. There's all different types of painting, magic, traps. The divided book, entire hallway. After that, many traps going off, and descriptions and paintings, entire hallway, this being the third hallway, and finally the one trap. You're level 17 from that hallway, and from the boss battle, the shadow you fought earlier, but mostly from the hallway of paintings, you're level 17 now. Because it took a lot to destroy all that art. Because you saw that art as dangerous, you quickly identified it, and you destroyed that entire hallway of paintings. Wow. Guard hole. Doorway room, hidden supply room, hell swarm, warded staff room, entry room to the Holy Swarm's chambers, Holy Swarm living quarters, captain of the Holy Swarm's quarters, queen of the Holy Swarm's quarters, armory, containment room, mortal bar gets back, room, testing room 1, testing room 3, mortal guards room, practice hall, meeting hall, hidden store room, a hidden floor, guard room, pit guard room, living quarters, ward staff alcove, the mayor's quarters, trap hall, defensive function. Inevitable garrison. Some inevitables have fractured from the remaining garrison, claiming the inevitables and the redeemed control the central and eastern controls portions, while the rest of the celestials control the western parts. The entirety of the inevitables' efforts is directed towards keeping the evils from the redeemed and from escaping, and they pay little attention to the creatures that infiltrated. They are unaware of missions and unable to help. Instead, they concentrate on keeping the wards charged. They are remaining slaves. Also, those inevitables do expend energy hunting down creatures that have taken up residence nearby. Thinking these creatures too weak will really consume them. The strategy costs the lives of a few inevitables who no longer cause alone. So some of the other celestials are beginning to consider removing these threats. Initially, the celestial garrison near the minority of regions, so they are regions the native included in hazard these creatures over the millennium. Garrison has been whittled down to 19 members who occupy a small region in more than half of the region. The inevitables pay lip service to the falling orders of Calera, but usually do as they please do. With the inevitables the same and unfailing launch of rewards to the other celestials are limited in their criticism, but as time has gone, the inevitables have become more and more focused. Keeping the rewards intact and expense of all the morality of creatures and inevitables ally with, and inevitables continue their chosen course, oblivious that it's better with other celestials. With the time, when anyone speaks against their strategies, other celestials don't believe they may come to blows, with the brethren of things continue in expansion for another few centuries, but they think the humanity of beings as allies. Even those beings were occasionally still contained normally inevitables called upon every few centuries to update their programming. But those in the region have never been recalled. They believe, behave, dramatically believe, Tolaria has here, and they have to put down violently some time in the future if nothing can be done to help them. The larger zone of contention between inevitables and other celestials are redeemed. The inevitables have recruited a few of the more compatible and have been so under the hopes of cloning them and creating Hanson store subdomains. The renewables and growling, has done everything short of snowfalls to stop the renewables. It's time to the disagreement. The inevitables now have a handful of lawful and neutral creatures living in a group they call the Green. The inevitables, the single worlds have been under the beauty of the lives of them. They do change the inevitables and press others into their service against their will, including the blind creatures they stumble across. They are clear against it. Anyone who refuses to hold their whole view of their life in the same place. The number of players and the game using the around the wall between going around patrols and recharging the roads to some of the rooms. There's a second chance of finding an inhabitants of that room at home. So it looks like there are some specific inevitables, machines that have names and identities that will be completely lost out. On the other hand, bringing the law to chaos, one of the those who like it is Alpha, and pursuing those who escape justice. On the other hand, is concerned with educating those transgressors about what they did wrong. These are the make points of the redeeming things all the time with them. Force and defending the redeeming of the lie. Refusing to let them think and hold in manner, but to deeds convince and return to do bar, answer submission, terms of enforcing agreements of theory, surrender. From his original programming. So they use a methodology that him just finally meets. After the ending, as for the loss and for us, it's that season. Is the history inevitable treated as one, and if they together and think of themselves as siblings, the subject concept is central part of constructs. They were sons of the stopping the prisoners, becoming their lives and using the but they could have versus separate from the rules of the heads, and the headers of them all at the same. And they see the understanding loss of other celestials, their true purpose going Moisak, so there also, Moisak transfers to escape justice like the Zelka. He prefers to hunt the liars. He has an uncanny knack for detecting falsehood and gives everyone suspicion, even the heirs and the members. He is paranoid but generally does not act on his paranoia unless given cause of the Zelkas. He is possibly the most balanced because of fulfill his programming. Despite his paranoid tendencies, he is not likely to trust the PCs under any circumstance unless he knows them for at least 6 months with no sign of treachery. Perstal, Slayer of Unliving, while no Mars select undead, Perstal spends more time hunting them than the other Mars in the garrison. He actively hunts the shadows and the southern creatures of the region, usually doing so alone. He is not on watch for the Nettles. He maintains the strongest set of ideals and spends much of his time with other celestials instead of the Nettles, finding the mindset more agreeable. Priestson, adjudicator to the host, master of laws and legal history in garrison. He helps Tekharis settle disputes among the members in garrison. Priestson is more scholar than a warrior of all the Nettles, is set anxious to leave the dungeon while he has a sense of duty to keep them here. He has no interest in the glory of death surrounded in the course of his enemies. Priestson carries one of the Lord's slaves when it is not in use. Sinar, keeper of the list, is stone of the garrison, so that keeps us all the and liabilities, and much of the time recording every minute. We have the garrison's daily life. So knowledge is overtly opiate and tries hard to convince everyone that the daily running of keeping the garrison's records is really interesting. He longs for days of recording great battles and games of heroes. Not how many hours each one of the garrison spends changing the rules of the surrounding celestials. He is most interested in finding the old door so that the hidden library may be reached. And this guy's actually trying to get to that library that we already have, so that's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. Yeah, all were those who flee near the Zelka. Scenarios attacks with hunting down creatures who somehow overcome the Smear's taste. Scenarios feels that the rest of the garrison does not appreciate the skills and is constantly looking for a way to prove his abilities. Tekharis, watcher of the bargains. Tekharis' inevitable charge of seeing that bargains are kept in contracts carried out specifically in terms of political arrangements or trade agreements in garrison. He serves as an intermediary between factions and abdicator, but now he has feelings to answer his calling. He has tried reaching out to the non-evil inhabitants of the building in hopes of serving in the same capacity for others, but has thus far been unsuccessful. Despite this, he is the full leader of the Nettles, as responsibility carries out without excitement or interest. Tekharis normally carries one of the war's status when he is not in use. Warthog, keeper of stores, quartermaster built out supplies as needed. Unfortunately, the quartermaster was slain during the first earthquake, leaving Warthog in charge. Warthog over time has become more and more stingy, growing reluctant to give supplies even in life or death situations. The redeemed of the nation and creatures the Nettles have recruited in an attempt to bolster their numbers and hopefully reform a few of the inhabitants of the dungeon. On the whole, the creatures in the redeemed are recruited force and do not want to have anything to do with the Celestials. Glorious they have given the chance, but they are also terrified of the Celestials and usually do them as long as the Celestials are around. Except for Ackerton, the redeemed don't care about the evils locked up below, ultimately seeing it as someone else's problem. Origins recently found that the secret door into the room uses the room in the area as a secret meeting place and storage for items they do not want the Nettles to know about. Using the room as a staging and go around, Mauritius' decision is considering contracting the various factions to the region and alliance against the Celestial garrison has been highly wiped out. Mauritius isn't hopes to use confusion of these powers to wipe it out. Mauritius isn't hopes to confusion cravings for conflict with Celestials with everything about him and escape the dungeon. Mauritius isn't and escape the dungeon, is preparing his first overture to Mortar and Saras, tanks unaware of the new day between them. The Nettles do not allow the redeemed weapons and armor when they are not being directly supervised except that Ackerson, who is allowed to carry his weapons and armor. When the redeemed go on patrol, they are issued weapons by the Nettle leading the patrol. The weapons are given back after the patrol is usually involves thoroughly searching the redeemed with the level of things by the more prudent the sneak weapon in the back of the room. Acquiring sorts of weaponry has been one of Mauritius's main concerns, and he has found it in the armory. I'm not really too sure what I just said to you, because I was reading someone else's words. Your idea this would be preferable to writing something myself and reading that to you. So those like inevitable warlords, machines with personalities, and then those border machines, you select them, and level 13 now. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna say that they're warlord machine post consciousnesses that all, however many of them. That they're all dead, and those are all the Nettles that they were hosting. I'm just walking through barren last name stuff: armory, hideout, quarters, prison, quarters, common room, garrison, room, brothers' quarters, Kurtzell's quarters, Sumeri's quarters, Morplack's quarters, Demar's quarters, Bird Colonists, those were redeemed, Dorson's quarters, Ackerson's quarters, Kalani's quarters, Crew's quarters. Carthorax quarters, Converman's quarters, Hidden Armory, Moss Garden, Laboratory, Workers, Disposal Room, Spider Armory, Hall of the Fallen, Falling Places in this room, falling up from the columns reaching the ceiling, the floors, moist all access and beard giving room, field of national subterranean information, escaping creatures can be heard in the distance then. With all this time, the source of the noise may be much closer, columns are all covered in text in a range of languages, all found directly to extend. Antidote. Home of the trumpet, shrine, room of wolf, silence, white noise, room of clouds, meditation. Room of night, room of death. Celestial garrison. No, the surviving members of the Southland. Okay, so you're opposite the king? Okay. Really? Orientation in the deeper reaches of the dungeon only retreated when their post was over and slowly after the first earthquake peaceful. Once lost comrades in which someone will find their bodies down in the depths. There they lie unburied mystery questions anyone who returns from the lowly depths of hell. And the celestials are found beneath Hogan again, so some of the comrades survive. Warpore, whose arms are soaked in blood, Schweider's right-hand man, is often the most powerful individual Americans. Amongst the surviving members of Garrison that has no desire to leave, there is one sign of blood in his hands and has safety, but has been evil. The signs of Garrison are two years inseparable mortal carriers, one of the red signs and the blood years. Sanjid, one of the reserve healers assigns the Garrison's Sanjid, who is not seen as much called by other members of the Garrison more destroy that warrior. He is unsure of the skills of a warrior, he also tries his best, but often fears the result. While shame in the eyes of others, Soldier, the unusual with lantern archon, Soldier keeps an eye on the garden area in the shadow is always concerned about the growing members of shadows, that he is more naturally capable Soldier would go shadow hunting himself, and instead he accompanies the distribution as him. Soldier is protective of other lantern archon, and sees himself as their defender as he is to be the host. Stark. The lantern archon's part of the take on bigger and ones in the region, according to the Garrison, Stark is painful, but those enchanters who are not evil, helping them find their way through the dark. Stark normally believes time that feeling for the protection of their other celestials. He says that while Morphle is not the most capable warrior of the Garrison, nor is our combat in the chairs, she's been the her crown down, fighting the worlds and training the warriors, sparking for a fight. Celestial Garrison, and these are all the really silly that never goes on. This was a conflict between two sides of machines, which was an illusion of the Celestials, which are like divine light beings or something like that. I don't know what Celestial is, honestly. And well, it was like, so you can say that those are the Celestial for the descriptions. They saw them in level 18, congratulations, we'll be close to level 20, and then this will be behind us. We're also doing also second day, that's why we're level 18, I think, we're all level 18. It was really confusing. Which means so much. But we were playing when we were back. Level 18, the next thing you're moving into is full of maze. And so I'll be specific because I was going to make a paper role-playing game. I would call it Maze, just Maze. So this region is the Maze, and it's in Dungeons & Dragons, and the World Wars Dungeon. Curious what's going to be about that, honestly. So this is good as your animation makes it working. Working are personally system useful. When some other database, they are showing walking devices set upon them. In some other views, the workgate, the interdimensional connection between gates is created. Thus, the workgate opens in a random location is determined by the workgates. Random locations are random. Workgates. Broken X time rows. Including from the turn, those broken X. Indicated by chart on the region of the room. Showing small portions of some other walls of the zone. The monster seen one to multiple pieces that are executed and dead. The tribe then returns to the golden X after the ancestral relic held by each successful chief in the region. Into a conflict. Certain states or some of the customers begin to question their chieftain's leadership qualifications. The king was kind of entertaining burial kings of the region, coming with Elven Wizard, Mahala, and the Atlas-Sphinx, all now everything living, they locked himself into a cell and using a broken magical device to control all people's bodies and enter the body of the Browkey and trade places permanently. While Browkey's spirit was corrupted the elf's unheartedly body within the confines of prison cell, the Dingus Wizard became intrinsically involved in the politics of the Golden Axe tribe. Within months, the elf organized a series of bloody raids that split the tribe into those loyal to the chieftain Markui and those unbelieving when Lucky should replace him. In a brutal showdown, the name of Markui, Goraki, broke the ancestral Golden Axe in the tribe that took its name from where both opponents tried to encounter it was clear the tribe had to separate under its safe living for the people. Malachi and Markui made peace and spread into the carefully of the Golden Axe tribe into those remaining loyal to Markui and named their tribe in Broken Axe. This is already way too much backstory to keep track of. Wow. These 14 keys, so it looks like the keys to a bunch of teleporting devices are going to be specific individuals, so I guess it's the whole part of this section is killing the specific individual with the workgate key, and then using that workgate key to get into the next area, killing another individual once I identify who has his workgate key, and then continuing to process patterns that have 50 rooms each filled with monsters. Entrance, breaking next guard post. Secret chamber, where we're going around killing high-value targets, setting a war-value key, and go into the next area. Secret chamber. Military guard chamber. Secret wall ammo. Training room. One military guard. Angle storage. We set up their storage. I think we're just going to end the encounter here at angle storage. Now, we'll keep going. so many thoughts just going up in my mind right now. Military Guardians, Gathering Hall, Old Town Hall, Harvard Room, Lincoln Bedchamber, Macaroon, False Treasure Room, Sergeant's Office, Broken Axe Waterface, Broken Axe Database, Moving Forward Walking, Outer Guardians, Frank Guardians, Isolated Wargate, Treasure Rooms. Well, we don't want to lose. Anything you ever wanted is treasure. It's in the treasure rooms. So we just walk into it. I mean, we lock down big time, guys. Like all the treasure, everything that's treasure, people, is here and it's in stock. So just loot it up. Just living rooms. Chicken's sons, Prime Chamber. A large bed covered with a thick layer of glowing blankets on me as the sensor to our chamber and acid test as well as the skin of a larger bear-like animal makes a place which is fully dark. When you open up this book and you read the subtitle with so many descriptions, it's like I honestly don't know what I'm reading. And it's weird. A lot on my mind. And to treat it so trivial makes it odd and silent and sort of hard to think. It's crazy. It's just too much. Too much. But there's enough that different something after toying with these simple equations and pencil drawing and exactly what you're doing with your time with life. I was having some time to check out exactly what you're saying. And so you think, well, how bad and just go wrong by an accident. Like, how long are you going to be kept in this state of visualizing what you want? You realize you haven't built to the world in your own mind large enough to have a valid opinion of your own voice. Wow. Not the living orders. All of Minotaurs and living orders. Of course, the maze is just filled with tribes of Minotaurs, actual Minotaurs, home kinds of beasts. Only it's so true. Chicken pile chambers. Another host. Around this pile chambers. Acting like the living orders. Guard post. Isolated working. Old guard's chamber. Wow. What's he doing? Wow. And I was awestruck and dumbstruck by this thing, trying to imagine something complete. It seems unfunctional. Like, what exactly is? There's a book with asking is too much, and the price tag alone is too much, and then the price tag is so high, you have to wonder what's actually in it, and then it could be difficult to actually form. It's just like, why not pay so much money for incredibly difficult to read? I have to think about all the weird types of reading or tasks or beliefs that you get engaged in and pass time doing when I try and read the world's largest ocean visual computer. Because it's like impossible to, it is impossible, it's actually impossible to play the world's largest ocean because no one is going to spend 2 years of their life moving through an art piece that they had no say in its creation. It seems to be just sort of verbal abuse targeted directly at different beliefs that you could have had, and let them continue to tell you that you are leveling up and moving forward and growing more powerful and everything is going better. You are becoming more capable as a person. I believe in you. You have special abilities that I've only seen in you and no one else has performed. Only you can accomplish this task. And if you fail, then all others will be condemned. Everything that's hanging on you. Crazy. Chiral Hydra. Maybe Chiral Frost Hydra. You know? Like I don't even know what I'm reading or saying. Shadow just says, well, just all seems so much of the same. I can't just continue reading the same thing, you know, repeating phrases Gargoyles do. Forced reactions, you know. And this is the Chiral Hydras. Forged warp gates room. I mean, once you enter a whole bunch of weird links of warp gates, I mean, really sort of bouncing all the weird possibilities. You said I'm a warp gate. You don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're seeing this. Saying something else earlier. You can't walk a single person through the world's largest dungeon because it would physically take 2 years. And even then, I'm still like taking up all this time, this physical time that's occurring. And so I'm only taking up because I've got enthralled in it, you know. I'm taking up this time at the same time I'm not actually reading. There is no essential world's largest dungeon. There is no, oh yeah, I know what happened when you try and open that book. There's all left to interpretation. It's insane. It's insane. A layer of snooze. Whoa. I don't have to read it. Do it as is. So when the food's so bad, I need this kind of reaction to try and increase the range of my own mind. And so as I'm always making the reaction to the computer, usually reading it, and I was like, I'm treating it with the computer, like my friend. But at the same time, when I treat my friends like this, I just keep crying with latency. And a cutting terror speaks. Controls reads S44 through F50. So this creature looks alone. On our relies on several factors to protect the territory. The main goal is to help maintain peace and nation's unity as she benefits from it more than anyone. Back when she members of the Golden Axe, Vampire tried to many people over the happiness of reading the original leaders and figuring point toward a small price of the labyrinth so every struggle for survival. But many people now realize however that one is one of the hardest pieces of every single piece for that goal is original on our like most of this are kind. It is fine of intellectual things such as riddles and puzzles, she's coming favor, always ready to bargain for service or credit, and she had to reading burial. But being a self and wizard and the two things only share a bond that few creatures can sustain, for most safety is secure on our islands, territory, and make peace with their immediate neighbors. Powerful fighting parties and change for governments of it, without a wizard, with protection being needed. Finishing on around one with his countenance, Deuterian, then revealed to our he had in his possession an item that would allow him to create bodies with any creature he wished, though he had not necessarily tried out the device. He believed to use it. Our agreed to help him do so. Now, risen. Okay. Though he had in his nest of the earth tried out the device, he agreed to use it. Okay. That is, sort of unusual stuff happening in the room right now. I'm just trying to ignore it and figure out that this stuff that I'm seeing isn't happening on screen, but, sort of things and interactions happening. I'm sure I can agree with this. Another in the third, at each time the wizard learned more information on the region of the dungeon. Information he shared with his ally Armor when they entered the body of Garwiki, powerful Minotaur who had a strong voice in golden politics. He returned to his body a month later, and with Armor advised the plan that ensured the Minotaur tribe wasn't further trouble to the inhabitants of the region. Durkanian took control of Garwiki's body once more, at the time being planning to save for moments. While in control of Garwiki's flesh, the wizard allied himself to several Minotaurs who were discontented with the way the Golden Axe tribe was run. He planned to see the revolt that would trigger a civil war that happened a decade ago in Durkania. Who would share riddles and trades of treasure with her, but did not tolerate anyone who is after her wealth or territories. So, fake door, falling columns, on our eyes, private chamber. There's like insects. I don't call them insects, but fake cooler name. There's sort of exactly instead of that word. I keep on making it. They keep on buzzing it. Because they're things. They're pretty not. It's like, falling halls, flooding room, our rods, private chamber, painted hallway, trigger cache, quarantine territory, common hall, Dalax, Minotaurs, everybody been slaying so many Minotaurs that you would have thought your arm would be getting tired now, but it just keeps on going on, and whenever you slay Minotaur that one steps on it and tries to attack you, tries to kill you, and you slay that Minotaur too, and each one of them continues to give you XP. Boom. And one of these Minotaurs, that name, Cartodoptery, it's a weird name for Minotaur, because I don't think he's capable of saying it himself. It's interesting, make me think of a lot of names for animals that don't actually speak, and how we're just sort of calling them those things, and how those aren't what they call themselves. And it's not really good. Six orders, prioritized by the chambers, canopy, prioritized personal guard chambers. Thousand Smithy, Garwiki's Frame. Yes, it's Garwiki's doing something special. Don't just walk in around, secret doorways, guard post, fort gate, guard post, sword room and tunnel, go to private chambers, common hall, training room, ancient treasure room, assassin behind lair, assassin behind jungle, trigger pit trap, rationary slayer, angelic statue, battle room, trapped hallway, keynote bed chamber, great hall, passion large private room, warded room, guard post, survival chambers, cell block, multi-boys den, wooden statues, old pyre, border patrol, main chamber, unholy temple, collects chambers, mortals room, isolated wargate number 4, compacting room, crabonies nest, slacking corridor, empty cells, trapped door, isolated wargate number 5, manticore pie, manticore nest, eaters of hack, old hearts, low manticore, elevated guard post. Well, I don't really know what that was all about. We just survived the maze, and we were using a bunch of special keys to activate warp gates and traveling around a bunch of mismatched locations, never really arriving at anything, and not really provided well for it. But the whole experience seems kind of stable for this segment. It still had me thinking of everything that I'd ever done. And the ability to suspend one's disbelief, or you actually engage in the imaginative process. It's just reading the source, just reading the bold words and not reading the rest of it. Kind of best. You're level 19 now. From all that confusion, you still endured, and you're level 19. I don't know what I'm going to do. I was under the impression that this is all in black and white, so the hell of it happened before Doom with Doom 2. It's about that. So it says, thousands of years ago, the demon lord Krashevek unleashed his demonic host upon the world. Few recall the devastation mounted by these dark armies that issue from the abyss, but those who do refer to this period as the Great Oblivion. Though little is known of Krashevek and his fiendish soldiers, legend from the era speak of the horrible deaths, despair, and pain of the host of the demon lord wrought. The Great Oblivion is a time better left forgotten, and what seemed like an eternity of Lord Krashevek took control of most of the northern realms, imposing his havoc on creatures that survived his initial onslaught. The story lasted for several decades, and the demonic host eventually gained control of more territory until the demons dominated the planet. Modern historians are baffled that ancient forces, such as the elves, usually survived these desperate times. And scientists who study the era of the Great Oblivion included several illustrations that would explain this phenomenon. Fortunately for pre-human races, the troubles of the world caused sorrow in the heavens. The refused to believe that some angels decided to divide their own hands and put a stop to Lord Prussia, and his heinous minions, eventually an elite group of angel and celestial warriors descended from the heavens, and a valiant effort to help save the world, calling themselves the children of the air light. These beings changed the planet opposite of hosts, more importantly how the angels and celestials helped themselves into competitive titans strong enough to fend off the most demon attacks as a council organizations that come with the desperate efforts of the marshals combined tremendous might of the angel celestial army drove off most of the host from Krishna's control. After years of guerrilla warfare, the violent invaders were decimated and signed the angel leader of the children of the light after the demon Lord Krishna. In the years that followed, the surviving creatures of the world reclaimed all the land which had originally been theirs. The world was rid of Krishna, and the demon Lord's name eventually became self-rendered, but they would not realize how it was the children of the light, swiftly that Krishna's great causing harms everyone again. Hundreds of Saturdays proved that the children of the demon Lord's heavenly coastline and not hidden, but Krishna and the demons had been caught with him, were in prison, silent, renegade, and the children of the light, vowed to ensure that our would never be allowed to leave that nuclear around prison, raising risks and hazards which caused the general to be devastated over the weekdays, making things task more difficult, one will make matters worse. Some of the demonic forces had saved themselves and took control of the portion of the complex. Some of them are now laying siege to the magical cocoon and binding all the person back to the place. The second dungeon holds one of the most important prisons in the last complex. This prison, which keeps the form of a cocoon, made out of pure force, and binds the powerful demon Lord Krishna. It is at the center higher than the top of the reach. The children of the light were able to erect a protective dome around the prison. It is now under the siege by a demonic host yearning to liberate their Lord, their master. The haunting song of the trumpet harp charge of protecting the demon lord's prison in search of revolution. The song she has woven for centuries allows her to maintain the protective barrier around whom, that the soft, soul-wrenching veil is laced with sorrow. Children of your lights. Children of your lights, a group angels, celestial, responsible for protecting the Christian light and dominions, though once the wardens of the entire region, children of the light lost control centuries ago. You know what changed. More wardens to the prison cells, such as wardens, lost were forced to retreat, but the demons organized themselves into a powerful force fans on liberating their leader, Lord Krishna. The children of their lights were barricaded in this region. Led by the cyber the children of their light remained eagerly dedicated to their settlements task of keeping Krishna and his demonic fiends inside the walls, fortunately by themselves. If keeping the demon Lord Krishna in room remains, sometimes somehow down the region, the king's rank of massive all force and lightning of it is standing between the demon Lord's prison and his enemies. Under siege, many of the children of their light fear the demonic host might soon live the Lord. Many matters worse when demons keep control of the portion of the leaders, while destroying their camp crystals, the magical illumination, traps and wards are replaced. To ensure these traps and wards remain active, Cyber stole away to Seer Chamber and created a new powerful power source using his body as a living battery. Those of the warriors of the Cyber are so. Of course, like this dimension of cell phones and the dimension of text messaging, there's just no way to make it hang around the time without just like, it's not okay. It's not okay. It is sick. It is sick to have some petty text messaging. Because people just keep sick. Okay, it's not so sick. It's actually a good thing. Probably. It's all experimental technology. Cell phones and text messaging. It's like in every moment, people just use cell phones and text messaging to assault each other psychology. And internet websites are even worse than cell phones and cell phone technology. These things are all just assaults. I don't know how we're surviving. That was all out of things back in the day, where children live their life. When children live their life is as a powerful fighting unit, each warrior is extremely loyal to Cyber Aurelia, and would readily sacrifice his life to protect them over any Russian escape. At the time, Cyber Aurelia is the second in command of probably his wife. Now leaves the warriors who take their leader. Her most immediate concern is to find reinforcements to help children in their life defeat the demonic hosts laying siege to the Lord's prison. I mean, somehow it's still just an perfect experience reading this. This in my mind is so hot topic when I read this, and it's Everyone and kind of their letters, especially when they entering into basic operations, so they might be convinced to accept the help of one who act with honor and respect their laws. If you agree to rid the angelic warriors of infernal basilisk who roams the southern shore of the island, everyone might serve honorary titles and grant them temporary membership as a fighting home. The children of their light will not deal with evil ones who hunt and destroy. I don't like how rules us out. Magical prison, the demon Lord Krishna. Looks like we're going to be having some random encounters. Hound Archon Guard Post. Ooh, from the first image when you see a Hound Archon, you realize that the person providing these images for you in these words to say is much more intelligent and knowledgeable of our own inner mind than we might be. That was the initial reaction to the picture of the Hound Archon. It's just like, no, stop. Like, what is going on? Because when you see a picture of a Hound Archon, you realize you instantly like it, and you don't understand why. That's how you know this thing knows what is going on inside you, you know? So weird and scary, because how could you possibly know what's inside my own imagination beforehand you, unless I never really had a functioning compass or map of my own imagination? And then you realize that our imagination is just a bunch of giddy, tingly feelings that aren't actually from our inside, that are actually input into us. And we just sort of accept these things so readily that we just accept it. It's crazy. More than that, we don't just accept these things, we get up in arms about these things. We're ready to kill ourselves or each other over images or shadows running through what they say are neural synapses. Wow. First Hound Archon Fairfax, Sealed Treasure Vault. Sealed Treasure Vault. Like, now that, I mean, once you start talking about Archons, I just feel like we were jumping on clouds, and there are treasure vaults made out of clouds, and there's just rays of lights everywhere, and Cyber Rally's inner sanctum. I'm just mad everything's made out of clouds, and I'm loving every minute of it. You know, just like what an unusual place to entertain the notion of. Really? Okay. Oh, so much notation. Seal treasure vault number 3. Second time Archon's Verax. Entrance to the treasure vault. Second time Archon's Argos. Actual Diva Quarters. I mean, this is weird. You know, it's like I'm just reading bits that wouldn't have been role-playing and wouldn't have been without scrolling, and it's crazy. The fact that they do actually run something like dice rolling in there, and Microsoft's like, why don't we have the option of those stuff? It's like quizzing subconscious mind at the same time. You know, it's such a deep. Astral Diva Quarters, you know, I don't personally go into Astral Diva Quarters, you know. I don't feel like I'm the type of person that goes in that even knows an Astral Diva. It just doesn't make sense to me to know an Astral Diva or to go through their stuff. Oh, wow. There's such a stuff called Hell on Earth. Wow. First Prophet Archon's Verax. Why did I even go here? The thing that bothers me the most is that it really is trying to get this isn't actually bothering me, it's a passing state of annoyance, is that the power of the maps at the back section, and with all these descriptions, and the entire 800 pages of 800 pages of list of descriptions of rooms, and you look at the maps, and you're just like, there's no way that lines up. There's just no way these things actually coincide. And then it's a really expensive book. So just drop it on that, it's beyond that. And boy, can you do that? Second trumpet Archon's Verax. Boy, empty room 2. I'll stop here for a second and comment on what my beliefs were like at times. The idea of these things of like third chakra and like bulleted sentences or underlined sentences with paragraphs of description underneath and only carving important information on the walls of dialogue. I don't know if this actually is true or makes sense. Like, it really looks like the last 5,000 years of I don't know how old is our own language. We really have no functioning language and no functioning memory recall, and it really does, when you get this far into the 90s, and we're here in level 19 and 30 90s, you really start thinking about how unfunctioning everything is, and how there is no recall, and there is no memory. You know, it just starts becoming the tranquil darkness. We're pretty close to level 19, and everything's really, you know, shocking, the actual technicality of everything. Everything is said so many times that things get totally said, and all the circles and the spirals and the swirls and the vortexes, they're walls colliding. What is it? What are we doing? What are we doing, swimming? When does it make sense to separate ourselves from a necessary task or a necessary game? You know, what I will say, it doesn't make sense. There's always going to be a list of causes leading to a non-logical event. If a non-logical event is supposed to happen, if it was a non-logical event, then there were the causes. So everything has to be caused illogically. The 10-hour game stage will break your mind, I feel. And the fact that I'm not playing, I used to play 10-hour sessions of D&D every weekend with my friends. That's what we used to do. And we only would ever get through as a dozen people at a time. And everyone was looking at these social networking sites and completing reviews. And it was, well, Astral Diva Private Quarters, Astral Diva Garter, Boarding Empty Room, War, Story Room, Astral Diva Chambers. I was strong, literally paragraphs. Remember the physical space, everything takes up the material components, the rankings, the ratings, all these separations. Everything's against each other. Edelon's out of chamber. I don't even want to go in there. I don't want to meet Edelon. Edelon has too nice of a name to meet. But allow me to go in there and kill her for XP. Because that seems like a quintessential way to beat this thing. It's just like, well, don't let Edelon slow you down. Just slay Edelon, you know? It's like, Edelon, I don't know what you were doing, what was going through your mind. But I was also because it's a nice easier to slay stuff and get to, you know, the 24 beyond so I can kill one weird super monster that was all just spoken dialogue and description. What? Recreation room. Empty Astral Diva recreation room. Wow, we sure do give these Astral Divas so much privilege for a dream or a look or a passing thought, don't we? Don't we? Don't we? Chamber room. And the Astral Diva chamber. Wounded Astral Diva chamber. How could the chamber be wounded? Ancient Spark. Abyssal Basilisk Playground. Archon's Missile. All these consciousness states sound Archon something or other. He knows what it's like passing through divine, celestial, and Archon stuff. Abyssal Basilisk Lair. Oh wow. All those words sound really harsh and dark, and I want to imagine it's a harsh dark place right now. Just watch for later. Empty chamber. Empty chamber. Side relay the eyes, I center. Empty scan. Abandoned sources. Costly graveyard. The bangers you try and add, and we can keep unconscious mind, fear and mind, do just leave behind that on purpose, so that we don't want to leave it, it appears to be so. The word. Priestess's private mode. Warner walks the chamber. Light is honest. Light is. Count down. Agent's heartbeat. Agent's gorgeous. Temple of King. After the demon pressure was set. It looks like you're going to have to tie your hand to statue of the demon lord before even attempting to take on the demon. Making me think about a lot. Oh wow, really? So, yeah, these, they're commonly known as stink bugs in, common speech, social data, but, I try and call them Heliomorphs or Pentatimes because those are their, like, Roman or scientific names. I can't find any functioning data, and, they seem to be multiplying, calling on my computer, and, I think it just reads like humans. Alair, the undead lord. Lord Tarnathius. Fortunately for children of Lord Tarnathius, who's more interested in his personal survival and the accumulation of wealth and highlighting and claiming spiritual and integrating the new Lord proven by medical field at the heart of the region. Because of his romantic quest, certain of the time ever maintaining and conscious to spread the root and the path of Slayer is not describing his way to power possibly more powerful. Lord Tarnathius recently made a long-US parent with Rebecca and her three not-having sisters, living the best with how has important things to worry about. Mainly, the more pregnant is warned the angel and on the words of the Trinity Night would take it upon themselves to drive off the zombies under control. More importantly, however, the constituted demonic forces show place is a layer of infrared that is not custom in the way secret that there is no way below or even complicity between the Printed Master and the demons. Or power because souls means one of this session will go to the secret connecting with the attention out you're trying to move like a my hand. Oh, okay, I didn't know feeling this. And it's okay, I'm even fine with you. Okay, try that. This is how I know. You say so. And then you oh wow, you are. We're using your third year, and this Heliomorph is using this it's keeping it back legs, and oh wow. Wow. Oh, I can distract that. You need to be certain of the witness those limits or places and sometimes other things can be very distracting. Zombie cave. Empty chamber. Regular zombie family pen. First over zombie quarters. I'm trying to get through all this while there's dancing bugs. I'm not calling them a bug. I just only have two words that they give me to describe you, and that is insect or bug. I don't even like calling you small. Maybe I am too nice. Just trying to get through my reading, and I'm kind of crawling on, letting them crawl on my reading. Second over zombie quarters. Our zombie garden. You are seeing so many signals, and so many hilarious with your legs. You're dealing with your legs, it's hilarious. When you move your antenna, wow, try to maybe chamber. Wherever your zombie there. Or try not to because it's an impact. Or try not because it's private chamber. Fallen angel is the name. Or try not because it's private library. Now there's private chamber, hidden track. Meeting hall, alright, track intersection. Sewer random means a secret chamber, Warhammer secret pen. Following the room, fallen angels private intersection, track intersection. Hellhound's pipe, treasure, track intersection. Hellhound pen, empty intersection. Hellhound gardens, initial building lands. Pile of rebel. Around Marin's quarters. Lord Blood Surveys, Slave, Bloody Blood Surveys, Chamber. Lord Natural Heavenly Chamber. Track empty room. The signal says this is chamber. You can track chamber if you attack. Here's target room. Safe. You can go and see this in stream. Intruder's room. But One answer is diversion. Listen to me, chamber number 1. What are you doing firing that 11 Well, you say so much. Just think of these company flies like to show me all their parts to them and flutter their wings slowly and like to
Warning. Sentinel drone activated.
I honestly don't know if I haven't been through my life or your time really playing don't do right. You take it really became too rude. It's beautiful to see. You were the one thing. From what I recall, the other thing. And that's pretty difficult to get. This one was also powerful, almost able to take on any challenge. I mean, you used to win this taking on any challenge, I believe.
Sentinel drone activated.
Protected losers. Centuries ago, this region focused on large-scale underwater excavation projects. Whatever it was, they thought they were unable to call it in They perhaps with the cousins, who were in upon them, and what resulted in a massive landslide, dropping hundreds of thousands of pounds of earth in a massive lake into the dungeon. However, mostly unperturbed, until they knew that their operations to a more suitable location leading their resurrected behind. In the midst of the rebel finder was something unique and incomplete, touching on from regarding the bounds of the home, and having the first for this world, completed over the first moving thing, and something to be carried by the whole, wooden embraces. Somehow, this creature had a mile-long fall from some night darkness, and for survival emerged the profound duty for the elves, protecting the sacred trees and ravages of the underworld. The elders knew them for its explorers, its brilliant mages, its holiest moods, the fire of heaven, and the great wisdom. The elders were told to renounce the stars by enemies for the patterns around in order to defend the sacred tree. The law castle, so that elven camp could have pulled upon the life deck, so it is human by a new working plan, that they might have working expertise and opinion and hope. It was a holy form of sacred duty, was called the market of age, and within the true and city ground in the grand duty, and the sun ruled for the darkness. As the years went by, also eventually leading the duty hold reality into light, and then the sacred and life which remained in your fall and the separated by the ignorance of my life, and the life of one up. The only going to important duty, and our heaven being of the lady. The education of the ground slowly turned out the eyes of the cosmos observer, and the sacred tree still flourishing, despite its location of small earth and about the trench road. An intricate network of mirrors tunneled the light that lighted down to the coast of fire. And your roots had performed great deeds, magic thunder, raising the earth, pulling out a stream of fresh clean water, and tiny creatures of course. The frontiers appear secure and all is well. Unfortunately, there is a chance to risk lost in paradise that I can also still consists of 7 elders and they divided into purpose here, even sense of bigger picture, and their tools will stay here. And no, Rio, the last century now, in a high room switching up the trees, and he knows the sellers, no one knows how old the ENC has instead been in the fortress forever, or at least since the tree fell. And Rio is well known to secular and apologetic fits, where even a slave is driven, a leaf crashing, and he does not flinch at spending the lives of holy troops like water, provided that it is a big form of sacred duty. Rio, in the midst of the outside world, is hotly contested by the second member of the High Council, Jacane Alexiou. Jacane is holy paladin, a distant descendant of one of the Celestials who built this place, and his heritage burns in blood and in the end. He has lived here a mere 50 years by all these standards, and has become the high commander of the other troops, more or less by default. Troops come and go, but he remains. Jacane is torn between conflicting duties and tree, or later evils of the dungeon, whereas in trying the balance of two, he succeeds at neither, and his view is now frustrated anger. The third member of the council, Panda Minerais, is a relatively young, far as elders go. Arriving at the same time as Jacane Alexiou, the fire doctor is contentious, hot-tempered, and stubborn, all perfectly understandable, and an elementalist with a passion for fire magics. Unfortunately, these are not precisely the qualities needed in a statesman and a counselor, and Carter has utterly lost patience with constant figuring of his fellows. He spent as much as time around the law makes, on the series of elements of time from lava flow. The fourth counselor regards all of his fellows with heavy distrust. Gurthan Hyderson, leader of the small dwarven that enclave in fortress, despite his unintelligible accents and Hyderson is possession of a keen eye and mind, and is not blind to the problem of seizing fortress. Unfortunately, he can't get that elven leaders from saying that he is not a holy warrior. He's an engineer, and he's getting more and more frustrated to end, Rios constant demands that have caused from engineering and sappers simply saying ceremonial power about truth. These two non-human members of the council have finally retreated into private quarters. Synthesis regarding Naga slides seamlessly throughout the caverns maze. He has rolled out beneath the rubble from the landside. Sits is more agitated lately, but does not pertain our external left. Meanwhile, Malachi, the Lamasu, lairs in a cave beneath the southeastern plateau, where he keeps a careful watch on the few and will seeds remaining to the elderly fruits. The member of the council is the sacred tree itself. The Belmar too, Campos, a holy trend, rooted in place by age, and our elder Campos is not for the work of many years. It watches and leads agrees, but it does not speak. Images for one elven, agrees but does not speak. Soldier suggests that should go through Campos, take once more doing what befalls the other weeks surrounded it. And it makes sense. The army noodles and fits and fruits remains pure in the middle of the night with no warning of piles and livings of the least running to be zitters. The common trooper knows after, however, dark rumors of wrong or something bad working from names a lot of to the southwest. Northern Limpsall is missing his confession of the rumors of which nothing years of late. He has recently had an entry that passed through his closet to an analyzer. Jolner, a ground safety from the far west, one so cool to ask Jolner to investigate. The Red Princess, he climbs merely with elven forces, there's a cool stretch they cannot afford to investigate. One more case on the track. The desertions and sequences have grown so frequent and others so rampant that elven clean up and sometimes trying to escape. Scenery, Miller, half-elven, royal investigator, and King Kirkin herself arrived 6 months ago, replaced the second his name, not being left, with such a success. Abandoned blind has crystallized. This seems to be one of the most uninhabited places imaginable. Although the temperature is tolerable and safe streams of the nearby lava is a fire, danger, and death. The wicked shards of glassy stone jutting out of all angles will only add to your impression that no danger completely unlocked here. And yet a straight shaft of light looms something that in decay appears to have decidedly unnatural boundaries. The stench emanates from the depths of this canyon, and something the wind same times. The stone walls seem to have shattered in places, and others scorched, and still others melted. It is as in nature war, and has taken place here, emerging from the remnants uttered violent abandonment. In the clearing ear of the canyon, swathes metal scaffold that doesn't swirl all the world. It is simply welded together in a haphazard mass, close to looking at scissor lengths of metal resemble teeth. There in the wind wails through the jagged rocks, tearing faint signs of dust and death. With it, it appears the sun walls of nearby gorge are stained with blood, and as the lower below, the nearby lava flow, and the faint knocking rattling, the deeper opinion that we is merely the sound of stone on stone beneath. Overall, noise on stage bites upon the canyon on a straight current of wind, sending even strong names or could have pulse. From deep within the ravine, half hits, gurgling noise heard, resembling nothing so much as the labored breathing of a creature in the throes of death, especially his eyes as we approach to the faint haze being seen as a pool thickening and boiling mud, and stirred by giant bubbles that release noxious gases when reversed. The canyon moving was not circular color powerhouse of the living rock, a hollow, usually large, not wholesale, and nearly ugly picture, opposite its pacific reverse. The reason for this is obvious. As we look at unclean eye, many graves have been lying covered, leaving more sheer behind the protection from the green black of seeing, a light cell, a touch, a twitch, a passing sunbeam strokes the air in its dazzling display of color. The dragon's law. Snatching heat. Shimmering heat waves roll out of the body rollers on a powered steam, resembling breath of sleeping dragon. The constant susurrus of flying creatures swirling out of the law, same paper here, in contrast with heat. A dull red glow reflects off the surface of the vessel, throwing jagged shadows on the ground. The wedlock of the canyon floor confuses so boundary hanging abruptly, the scattered ash and cinders of the canyon opens up an unequal rounded cul-de-sac. Through the fumes of blowing magma, unorthodox size of the cul-de-sac, man could stand a few moments, the room lifted and carved on the wall, shimmering in all distant heat. Even the soul torch hit the cavern, lifting the thousands of crystals set in the walls, sealing the fight, the cavern is black. The same legs that driven the spring of sound soaked in the cavern, by an evening spent into the air. From outside, the cavern is really beautiful, from the disturbing light overwhelming. Like the watchtower, there is a feeling of decay as you approach the tower, suddenly camouflages broken sideways, upon second signs of the black line, lower things awkwardly, make sure I know that the hinges is broken, the windows are mournfully, through a long and uncommitted chink in the welcome tower, we must be safe with death, with by the occasional crystal wind, unfriendly watchtower, who dances with the followers, touches magma, some of rocks, stripping, of the gun, for 50 feet, the once it is under soil slide, now looks up a root between clean rigorous, amidst the rigorous flora, carpeting the cavern for as far as the eye can see, indeed, with angles everywhere, and even begun to attack stones with ivy, floors, unfriendly, for outside, even tiny persons and even small surfaces, leading the seats to the keen eye can make out not choosing large, something down the hearts and the feet. The sun meadow is surrounded by remnants of light speech, casting a figure-like shadow over the fields, and is occasionally marred with modern football weapons. Beside the plant growth, however, the area seems curious still, as though it's there's hints of unfriendly eyes watching. The brightest limelight rises from sea of not being high grass, casting shadows to the southwest. There is no wind here to stir the grass, and there are creatures that scamper about and largely do so unobserved. For races of rain, there is no red flag on this wide sea of grass. The shield fortress reaches a good 60 feet, seems to have curving around each side of the jagged L, protected crenellations, half of the swimming bulwark on all sides, lying fortress and east so far, and up the fortress fading and curving L, and now inclusive open state rooms that throughout the ways and rooms 50 high. Shield wall railing edifice switches across the lower at least 100 paces long and easily confined to high level the north side wall is one road, filling and polished with darker crenellations, which either raises back and upwards as the cavern opens its structure sides walks all sorts of light save the rinse and hints of the twilight that split around the edges, nothing rose on the rough except the black sand that stretched out beneath the shield wall of darkness. So from what I can gather, this entire stretch of dungeon is still caves that are forged illuminated caves, an underground forest is what you've been going through. That has plenty of proof-remaining powers. Mount Pine's lair, the shadows casting some into the plateau, behind the great four columns swallowed like several feet to the side of the open rock, so easily behind the guarded light between them is indistinguishable. Outside looks as if something more smaller quarters that form opening cast shadows between underrations, you pass like a central stone, even closer to hanging fire light and stone, closer to hanging softly, even some half of the left into the columns, seem to have been shaped throughout the mirror, shapes only the magnet of light and shadow, the cabin itself is a wonder, pulling up some columns surrounding the soft essence, columns of fighting out a master touches you can have shapes and you can carry within the ceiling of good 50 feet high is scoured, by keeping in hand, your open phone, and make the stop and from that crystal, the hand outstretched under the palm rage, lying behind the pigments of the stone. I don't think we win fairy games is suspended in the ridges of stone as fine as the silk. I just have no idea what I'm saying or reading right now. This is a real low point to getting through the 119 of D&D. People are all tablelands slow to jane upward to southeast, and they're ready to cross the potential surface side from the berkeley, and the cavern woman faces surgical, wavering masses of plain young boundaries figured by the favourable light, the black white buffalo, large head, herd of creatures surrounding the tree, but the quick ones of the movies, clearly not enough to carry the whole Erickson. Nixie with her mouth. Here, when we were poison the lake, the ground is soft and marshy, to the feeling uneven. The fishy unpleasant odor of the lake is much less noticeable here, but it's a crystal clean sense of freshly rained water, and rolls road. The trees in this road are all gnarled and twisted, and at canopies overhang. The clearing, walking alike, flowing lines wrap around the ankles of unaware being wrapped with its grass, when the needle fingers at legs and close, at every step, dry leaves, fresh stems turned beneath first feet, and branches with at unprotected eyes. And none of this makes any sense really. Things the rock walls are rough and flat, and crash, and even requiring careful attention to one speaks. Small piles of sand and grit, scattered about some of it has surely fallen from the walls that arc and likely comfortable by that explanation. A few elongated bits of pressure are also found quite obviously not designed for human use. Sand, a thick reptile sands planks in the moist air here, the rocky forest slips down until ultimately gives way to dark, bright and sand, too warm for most humans to be comfortable. The heat makes the room seem far more claustrophobic than truly is. messy hall. This corridor has yet seen Atlas. This whole room is supposed to line of swords, staringly designed and staringly furnished. The ruler straight walls and sharp corners are hallmarks of dwarven precision. A simple network design carved at the door floor ceiling speaks out. Elegant Thessalonians, rickety shells lying more than eastern walls, and battered dense sits a few feet within the wall. The split western wall shrouded by heavy moppies and tapestry depicting a scene from an elven wedding. Storeroom, temple hall, home pantry, drip hands room, dwarven house, dwarven barracks, tavern, dwarven forge, operating sale, quarters, elven barracks, guard patrol, a camp liquid, elven barracks, great underslayer, fairy people, and dozen stripes. Anyways, I have no idea what that part was all about, except the true life, just sort of seeing like a bunch of random, nonsensical movies. It's all in all. I don't even post those when people doesn't make any sense anymore. Because it's not everlasting. Mine's gonna fall up. Let's get a little swing in the camp. You know, it takes me more. It's like fun just left. You need that Steve over because you're having fun. You're not just starting to understand, you're just reading it. The whole flesh is not inevitable, for the corners and rooms of right region make it unlivable for normal beings, and every place where unsuitable horrible diseases, easily within strains, to trace, and for equal, the whole is a flesh, a house, some that opens to us conceivably, and control the beast. Abomination that no that have eyes live here, in their set passes, flows through the whole inside, the bloody remains, they leave in the source of the region of the river fire, named Mother, and his body. He's the experience of his goes underneath him, the region of the pollution from the island, puzzle things, dark species, chokers, and avoiding these technical twins that region, he goes upon anger, and who learn to lean anger, the queens of all anguish and maintenance that never made from, the whole human world remain, as well, and thirdly, as a group, that can be assured and know that two and evil here in the form, as they are not destroyable. The chaos and destruction, they lack understanding and assumptions, and have lost the semblance of morality together, they are the core of the people suffering, and reason inevitably for reason reason is lawful. The nothing as usual is the effect of the greatest whole as liver, produce their internal material exception of steel, is horrible, and then here to push out the people, them to whatever fate, whatever the world strength, such as heart, causing the poor heart to lead the heels, the aberrations, and destroy the narrative with my not here, so the story, back centuries, joy, dryers with their group, dry out slaves, in the town, search for a new home, having wrench and loss of sections among the writers, they stumble for series on grand headers of war, the receiving region, and the writers settled with higher minds that their slaves had constantly meeting up region, the time word of the walls where they cutting better, it was along with the and the treatment of the slaves and hosts of paying more writers, while their psychological orders, rather than reading and common, and the physical structure of the cities and habits have not realized that thinking overmade the walls of the nature, but here really the experiments would result in negative communications would be indicated before the theory of post-trading and would be written beyond the failures of experiments exiled to monsters and false sexual complex. Perhaps the dark goddess of natural shows into perhaps the writers in the same arrogance as upon the master of lost in here. One of the causes in single writers writers lost in new home, one was the Mahere's reputation, having friendly home, so this in Mahere's creation, away 960 brown slaves that had Cody, region K, he acquired a bronze dragon egg which he used to seven his. Mahere took a dozen captive ground into inject medical serum, he helped logical elixirs, prototyping enzymes, and delivered in agony for months before, now in the hands of the very trouble young, he understood slowly reduced swinging seal massive meat take jelly, release it to a massive as a flesh, only their madness which after only a few short hours in the rapper, out to those in the laboratory, and into the southern holes of region 1, which took 28 response, trials survived, left convulsing and all being cataclysmic, state, it started into semi-discount, three-handed abomination, the creature's first conscious act determined the creatures, not here is all the convalescence, quickly fell into the participants, with the roots, massive complex of robots, and issue inside dreamless, parked through the wall, and doors, in search of more victims, sent here actual force riders down in the corridors, they, the lunchful home traders that now had formed their plan, small, pocket region, original milk, another riders, force around flames, around, what you know, is left the holes of punch, and degraded against attacks, and couldn't ever miss menace. And that was the holes. Period question by the whole sense of contamination comes from the whole splash. I've learned this adaptably. The unnatural life exists among zero points that have been invented and not entered. Unless you can talk to monsters, senses of certain characters, who have been within the whole flesh. Environments. Free of what contain to the text in the area. Legal without involvement picture and take decisions. Regions in the soul and abomination were developed falls and active our parties originally unrivaled the already awakening character creatures including those who do not do naturally such as monsters from men are that are here within sometimes the whole species from miraculous poverty within the environment living creatures who are near regain their points and accelerated links instead of normal life creatures and humans who are lost points around weather later day not only can I use another great link points from in too much of the thing characters especially clarity and kind of so healing the holes that divided I like to use something really here with combine this the same character and creatures the whole process has to negate the natural view I keep them on the thing takes the creatures and characters take the time so reason that costs 2,000 points easy 20 14 save missing me favorite results and phone rather quick one tap Madden chamber got Southern Pecan, just name names. Look closer, dead end. I don't know, it's over near traffic cache. Bigger, bigger, death nervous. Emergency center. Bigger, discuss. Random mutations, random campers, where's laughing? Everywhere, not photo. Silver's war. Random man, contact reading. Soil's war. Similar human colors, perception. Bloody chamber, up on the temple, a cell. Flash chamber, the damn corridor. Speed chamber, crossfire. Sizzling needs crossroads, sizzling needs layers, life space. Sizzling needs a perimeter. Now here's Latin cache. Home campers.
Surface windows, human cafe entrance, chamber signs, only walk, door number 1, 2, or 3, prove by that bit. But here is an empty chamber, smoke a chamber, a chemical lab.
Menace itself, ruin cache. Storeroom, right hand bandit, text side, left hand. Theater plane, number menace, kitty planks, same chamber. Non-menace, the city hall. Down the hatch, new room, patrolling the storage. Case in menace. Storage chamber, bow passage. Definitely cache got it already. Lady tunnel. Chamber of the green death. What has the gauntlet? Ambush, without fire. What has a lock? Trees central borders, and tech lair. The push of the room, constantly webbed by handicaps, approaching creatures will succeed. Stock check notice web or some range would be. Contracted though afflicted by spell. Attempts to pierce the web and receive. Ponies track. Creatures simply to walk around while holding free. From fire from room itself, not aim for anything intruders or fire webs. Enter quick passway at their home. Legion tentacles. You know, I've seen this from like the major early peaks of the engineering of the plot design, using the next couple of levels. I don't really understand anything I'm saying, but there's a bit of higher boss. Homebook out with my own features mostly complains of devious rush. Advanced salamanders, trolls, wires, and more greedy. Creatures, collar, tower, butchers, moving volcanic rock structures, territorial markers, great red dragon, coyotes, the same presides over the actions of the Firecross, through powerful aura, fear, and permeates everything to the spectre. This is a region characterized by absolute fear, and this is will, and the Firecross. The Firecross creation, a kind of Firecross being around a different region, processes with real as well as with dragon kindness, with our genius, kindness, use darkness, and powerful legend constantly outside of the food. Book of name, the Chaos of Ours housing stand all under his reign. There are centers of the power of celestial satellite, subdued, and celestials were inside the sword counters like chaos, declaring constitutional, stock war in heaven, that being not, but being everything power to into some, the void concept, celestial stock authority, that the block chaos from one place in prison, Paris, and in return, all chaos will surrender, and only the children of home and the caretakers. This cold, money center flat, echoed the heavens, celestial shattered, across the men, returning the swords, alive, extra along, mock chaos, and classes children, into the red, and blood celestials, encasing them in magma, but also rock, cool as their stone, and high was forged, holy soldiers, forged children. How does he want us to see that in prison, even less rapidly, reason of being lonely, and his prey for the line with celestial says, remorseless hunger for annihilation and legendary, his pleasure in life is the children, tireless love for investigation, we will work the deeds of goodness, we gave him a nice hope, his violence, the heart beat malls, his will take centuries for the stage, then reach a whole, then celestials in prison, Tyrus, behind nine wall heights, I saw one in both, Tyrus, sleep, with black 1,000 lifetimes, one for each kingdom be destroyed, but then the great effect came, shaking the dungeon salvation, and stepping forth from the gates of barrier, and the beast looked from sleep, as the walls of the dungeon waned, Tyrus' power grew. A ship of fireballs, many fire creatures, of many their own fireballs, only the rest of the state. A fireballs consists of a series of niches or rays. Each ring of fireballs is vehicle creation and subject of each ray lies in certain kinds of protected. How is believed to be like a lot of colors and creation was found to be on the focus of the drive. Most inhabitants territorial, they rarely leave their ring. Such territorialism, and they rarely leave their ring penalty to clearly make it their territory. Territorial markers are usually large basalt structures, magnet car, basins, lava flows, bloodstream, veins, things. Whether your actual actually works. Interaction sprayer, Beverly Headlands, and revolves around aliens, disposition, hierarchy, surrounding exotic mutualism, are less cooperative, altogether they are non-rings, based on occasional matches, weak and Tyrus is evil strong.
Product instructed. Product instructed. Product instructed.
Just make stop. Can't stop until you feel like you So, on to the next week, we're listening to one see, right? We're going to show Here's it. I think the same mentioning the high passes overcome the impossible sense of the red, letters, presence, and regional. It's the same concept of doing Firecross. I'll be afraid to receive from Firecross, since the region seeing the despair, always shaping one of their name. Even function and incorporated this out. There's no cure for this. Save times as death. The final focus is fate, and this can be reinforced by the zone. With restricted one proof for game mechanics. The first release concludes that snake-like lures, salamanders and deers, which are destroyed by running traps, and narrow areas created by celestials. In the first ring of Firecross, the salamanders have built a hierarchy society. Praying brother salamanders are most common salamander. There are trolls that came in their text and entered the Firecross. The praying brother salamanders are led by fun downward. The noble salamanders, typically selected salamanders, and their compare quality and savory. The periodic quality of X, brother salamanders were heavier character. The salamanders are rapid, and these rocks of the snake-like seagulls, burning the sand. With adherers, the inhabitants of the second ring of Firecross, the climbing of Firecross is not particularly interferes. Lacking now nothing that idea that is a red dragon and an answer. They're just tiny dragonfly isolate themselves rather than coexist with such creatures. Thus, the higher contact with others. They maintain a close bond on their close binding to any creatures including the ring of the city. The third and fourth and fifth rings of Firecross. The third ring of Firecross is located in the river lava. Five giant snake that are in the lava river shore that have great military to do. Society of banks and of manifold. Underlines are led by the Hipponics, who wears a great character of persuasion. The river itself, the Lord Magnet, wonders the base of the lava river, ocean fires of the east side, kitchen of the magnet, the Canadian magnet, prairie fires, beseeching them to smart fire ground society, fires of the future sun magnet, and see worship and release it. Currently, east, the region, the fire ground, children, and the city. I don't think the ring, Firecross for some of your sector, dwelling high by trolls who are most imprisoned behind, living faithfully inside the walls of Higher Ground, siege island, conquered the trolls, and see their statue, their life. Forcing them to defend over able to defend power of the terrain. Such trolls retreated into Fort Rick. Here to defend free. Balthazar's uncaring and prisoned in the motion. Patrol accidentally free the free. It will turn against their wishes and maintain the mainland and its paradise. When the trolls defeated the giants, fire waged war. What happens to the footprint of ears? Dislike the giants. Swallowing the enormous counterparts as ears initially enslaved by the giants to 9 for gems. Those who deemed big with the quicker giants voyages. There is little as ears could do to defend themselves and feel self-defined. Prophet drove the giant sack. Carrot Cow never made with a single word from his holy body and presence, but his active life named the five times back, freeing the ears and Jones theory in return. Carrot Cow became an guardian, protector, savior, and leader. He treats his ears well and takes work on Sundays and needs for his ritual. He asked him at the last domain, but his ears can aid service on his own.
Temperature levels stabilizing.
Outside its limits, the power kicked out, but hidden agenda can be used to enable the ability of the shipper. In truth, parrot cows, the world is not only bio, but the house is restricted in the region. Parrot cows has all the IoT to gain the Jones chief strike which starable, normal cows very good, but Kentucky are using versus again, the cult of the e-bonus, and 2 living side effects, one complete, their power covered by a living fire, capable of an escape. What might you believe? What will you complete this task? Particularly my process attack on the force of flame before captain, the royal hunters of the first mate, struggling beers to concentrate for a marker that's located in deep chasm, on south and time battalions negotiated future approaches on using like the purposes, high salamanders, blue lemon salamanders, lemon salamanders, deployment, atonement salamanders, guards, lower soul salmon, lemons, rising salamanders, penalty, and upper with, as long as the community, and some of the salamanders perform the worthy of defensive rabbis, these rotating red buckle pressure, balance the board, and against rank controls, professors, distinguished from, and when salamanders like steel walkers, salamanders, and mass, he should have wanted to maintain silver steel, and noble salamanders, and promote them to protect the check. The nobles that live with 5 salamanders are high cross shoulder protect the tick, and you see from their other salamanders and silver cap with skills and forehead. They consider power that will descend the rest of the fire salamanders, consider all consider on the noble lord, they consider or consider them, and consider being, and consider processes, and consider the term, whose points of salamander levels around and big strength on the stair, the sash, the points, consider being assumed from the training of the lord, see has sound and technical stunts and abilities support camping, Mr. Ken has the weakest of the lord, and Mr. Cactus avoids contact entirely along that lord's deal with his powers. Wow, even though none of that noise make any logical, sensory influence, you know it's already hard to get. It's like, what exactly did they say? You found out. Eight of the bypass. The interesting sphere. Everything is. Molds. Less of weapons. 20 goes out under cycle power. They're wards. Pit trap. The isolated vendors. The flow. That we have. Signal. Backloaded other crossroads. Filled seas. Pulse paddocks crossing the river ridge. Fire giants forwards. Cherry shade giants. The fire giants something off paper. Our own Hollywood. The hidden drop of the fire giant prison outward. Intersection of pits. Rumor flames. The fourth ring fire frost. A zero lighting from the swords, others lava, volcanic, shared ceramic, statue of Sarah Kane, rest of the unusual signs, unlike heroes, sword of ass, pretty baby's ass, rest, cold of blood, invisible halo, cage labyrinth, music of fire, unlocking switch, adding live, bit of dark strap live, dead live and fire in the fire, regions of fate, fire woman, ice freeze on ancient hour. The huge truth from the icy shield, the words frozen, including uncertain, the funnel narrow, the rest, exposing of walls, each and almost hacking the wall. The curtains locked up for small talk, streets, revealing chemical room, you enter. Human craft fires, cracked and dark orange ones, such as the highest over walls, you emerge from packing along the plateau of these highly covered nests, sacred prepared places, forced stops and dreaming, as some dragon shoe models, across chainmail, the dragon sounds are calling by dancing storm, the clouds strike rises from the center of the room. There, for showing the dragon swords in the cloud, gold pieces, and find past eyes on top of this grotesque breath. The swings are approaching, however, all open for a dragon sleeping, and seeing another presence of set that is among the chambers of cavern, and nobody seen on the dragon raise a wall, but 9 feet wide, it seems to be out of the
Yeah?
Well, I think I pulled it there. That was the end of the power boss. I'm sorry I just wasted so much of your time.
Okay.
It was super annoying. I hope it wasn't like a
No thanks.
that particular way. Episode 2 was 20. I told you that on every day, then I was learning something or if you had another time over in doing the city between levels that had an increase in action activity we're doing is a little pretty push on 20 and can't believe how it takes to fix that, you know. We're just looking at it for days, we're just yelling at it. And it's like, who set these titles there to finally choose? I don't know how these are moving forward to choose those titles. Moving forward this way. Entering the shallows, through the cells and past the place they think about it being once spelled crosswords and that there were excavations like the whole thing in the room of the region and the room of dirty water. Only parts of the land to make rich and shallow wash. And they've gone through the breeze and perishable earth within things under song blood, sediment, broken by and hard things, stuck with the region. Many who were really games that have sense of knowing apparently and some pieces of the hostile. Usually curious and legendary medical monsters predated into mountainous like heavens and the region's population, semi-solar or victim. Usually close to the source, the most pilot wondering all hundreds, usually forces open air, the colony of hags that air legends, and more, and a noir, and then a stretch of partially collapsed big areas. But in instead of humans and leading out the vicious creature prophecies to follow the leaders themselves with incredible opposition and slay horrors, utilizing a wide variety of characteristics that times are feared by nearly all the denizens who view them as great lingering evil for the marsh, swording and the dark green and dragon land, and losing social noise, walking over the whole territory within view, and preying mercilessly upon any who could out from dark walkers or the few remaining dungeon quarters. The beast has long since learned too long to leave this place, and contains with its surroundings, remaining the fulcrum of the whole power in the region. He views everything herein as property, and all creatures herein as playthings to be exploited for cruel pleasure as he sees fit. Half the things are forced to access the like cloud races, but living for the same waters, even instances. The lakes and northern waters are come to explore the who naturally tends to be serious with the well-being of as dozen of the district, or outsiders, the mother breaths of the and he's with the two islands and the operating and how concentrated, foremost, with their own eyes viewing the water, as a prison and must have the objects of the central lake that rises, being to the surface of portions of the original dungeon complex, 5,007, these shallow water chambers are home for smoking and figures of provincial creatures who view the structures for the final home, and his strong efforts, the trippings, the everything that keep out standard that they fight in the strong blow, as you arrive in the region, is delicate balance of power making the upset, starting including complexes and events are responsible for a new infection between the region's actions, take advantage of one more of these situations that have occurred, ultimately, simply align themselves around what actions to scope of ecology, and turn for a second loop before thinking about politics of evil are not sprayed, and parties may venture into prisons original cells in the south, or into the deep waters to the east, where collective dominion falling dangers are encountered. Shouldn't be short. Since half the brain, which will nearly sharply stretching on your line of sight into darkness that east, the ruins is portion of the dungeon here, shoreline giving way to collapse, the masonry, here is on the patch and polarized on edge, three sets of skeletal remains only two of them human, to my prone, their hands falling down and slowly, each skeleton buttons his pin for beggars, which will exterior strange sense of ever exhilarating, so much dream as you should have seen. Mosaic room. The surface was solely piled and attractive mosaic patterns, but the southern, eastern corner in front of the hallway leading east had collapsed in parts of the room, ugly, onto advanced bond that extends mosaics of serial, but the enormous and flexible words made upon them. Over floor line display the depiction of a fang of viper on one wall, blank, black shadow of another image that was the door of the eastern walls, largely lost upon the churches that ravaged its area, ravaged. Shackled worm, boss battle, you fight massive worm. Necrogate prison, you fight necrogates. Melon ghouls. Hag necrogate a lair. Ravenger's lair. Moonrats. Western lake. Why not a lair? Submerged dungeon wall. Abandoned cave. Sea pattern. Merfolk temple. Merfolk colony. Corrupted reef. We appear to be in the water to this measure. This is an underwater measure. We have been underwater this entire time. In caves. Underwater caves. Abandoned Merfolk colony. 10-hour USA. Prison Forge. Prison colony. Prison army. Coral reefs. The dog lines. Merfolk outcast. Body sponge. Sparkling pillar. Bright lights, deep quality, great render gate. Sinkholes, tool lair. Light channel, the watching willow, dragonfly. The final resting place of the alien out grave, Florian pillager. Dragons there. Wizard lair, dragon's ray. The caged avatar. Toadie's lair, the backland ball. The visible hinge. The well of the last resort. The mariner's passion. The shadow of the waves. Hunting mix, toilet show, immaculate compost, joints, triple past steps. Triple cat 1, triple cat 2, triple cat 3, the crystal base, the morning runs. Let's say more. Fire cell, chain cell, blade cell, water cell, empty cell, ice cell, rest area, change remorse, unstable cell, eternal song, water spider hitter, scorpion cell, artist, lair, golden place, wizard folk refuge, wizard folk trap, stables of perseverance, join second layer. Well, if that's everything. After whatever I just said, I have no idea what happened. But going through some caves under water, some coral reefs and some encounters of various designs, and it's been a long time now, unseemly long time we actually counted time past past. So you are now level 20. Consider yourself fully level up.
You're about to finish our Hungry Dragons campaign. With the world's largest human, and you're level 20, level 21, something like that. We're going through the halls of Icy Center. The furthest reaches of the complex were never intended to be part of the Celestial Dungeon. The new philosophy put those in place of the mighty ecosystem of naturally occurring caves cuts their way through both ice and earth. Over the years, these caverns have served as homes for many and varied creatures, from packs of once-nymphs and winter wolves to enormous fossils. For time, the caves were even occupied by a fringe cult of humans and humanoids who worshipped and now forgot the god of elders' ice. Whether the Celestials knew of this place when they built their dungeon into proximity is unclear. Surely, even if they did, it was a medical center to them. The complexes were separated by thick walls of stones and magical wards. Until that is, the curse of the place hit. Tremors shook the earth, tore the roots from the mountain, and the barriers between the dungeon and caverns crumbled on breakfast. Slowly at first, but with ever-increasing numbers, the prisoners and inhabitants of the dungeon awoke the thought was the truth, that the new flock had been introduced into Celestial's grand design. If they could make their way there, they might be able to grasp what they're created at last. Fortunately for the outside world, something else got there first. Two Carolina Titans, brothers, named Marcellus and Brasus. began receiving dreams and even waking visions of the celestial dungeon and of the new threat imposed to the surrounding area. Once these portents and warnings came, the others never knew. Perhaps they were sent by some high power that would not regard the dungeon as the rest of the world had, or even by some of the celestial stars who remained within. Ultimately, it's a matter. The Titans knew that someone had to send guards out. That's the island inhabitants escaped. They left themselves fighting farewell, bidding farewell to the lives they had known, and made their homes here. Artemis made himself comfortable in the caves of ice, keeping constant watch on the exit. Races chose to guard the main entrance to the dungeon in case the quakes had weakened it as well. It was as long as their body at the BC, but they had made it across so long ago that we were in it far. I've never. For centuries more, the Titans stood their post, ensuring that no one escaped. Few creatures made it as far as the exit from caverns and Barcelona, ensured that no one survived to the advantage of it. It was a hard and lonely existence and unnecessary. Some decades ago, it all changed. The mountains near the complex was the Red Ice Tribe, a powerful clan of frost giants, led by John Arrier, chieftain and high priest of the aspect of winter. The elemental power of the ice and more, who may even be the same power worshipped long ago in these self-same caverns. The Red Ice conquered many of the surrounding lands. Eventually, through powerful divinations and investigation of local legends, John Arrier learned of the celestial dungeon and of the Titan guarding it, and John Arrier devised the plan. The giantess cleric realized that, mighty as he was, he would be more powerful still with the love of natural witches and all the eyeless creatures of his command. If he possessed control of the exit from the Titan, he could bargain with potential escapees, treating them the freedom for any wealth they might have acquired from others in the dungeon, and for battles of fealty and service to his clan. Marcellus was a mighty foe, but between the Red Ice's overwhelming numbers and the mighty magics and characters, command, even he was overcome. The cross-giant chieftain did not slay the Titan for fear that Guardian's death might be sentenced by the celestial or outer planet beings. Instead of the power of a miracle, he imprisoned the Titan deep in the block of ice where he remains, physically trapped and physically helpless. The Red Ice tribe took over the catacombs and Guardian took on the name of Marcellus, allowing others to believe that Titan still stood watch. Unfortunately for Guardian, his plan does not work particularly well. Few inhabitants of dungeons have managed to reach the complex of ice, and most of those that were unwilling to bargain had to be destroyed. The Red Ice has gained a few main items as an important else. Still, Jardier is not about to give up. Even one half mile in a game from settlers will make them worth laughing. Anyway, Red Ice have several nice things to do. Of course, the tribe does not control the entirety of the complex. Wild monsters, escape slaves, and even a hideous queen from deep in the dungeon have their own layers. Areas the red ice giants have not been managed to apply. It is very chaotic and violent region. You must pass if you would regain your freedom. Your final challenge is upon you, and only if you're bravest and most skilled do you have a slim hope of passing it. So everything about you ramped up, you know, we're two Titans at the beginning that each saw the dead body of one, and I guess the Ice Giant is pretending to be a dead Titan. That never works out well. And it could be something taking on the name of someone who killed him. It's not good. The newly living cabin streets of filthy nights from the walls of this wild cabin cross-covered dirt crunches underfoot, having minuscule particles up to the head. The earth here has clearly been disturbed quite recently, and by either great creatures or few very large ones, sounds like a strange roaming louder as once the cavern's never side. The chamber appears to be empty of living beings, though it is difficult to see the far side doors of various missing paintings. Symbols and carvings. Though there is no seeing only like numerous symbols have been carved into the wall of this niche in the cavern. In fact, it appears as though the marks have been altered numerous times. Sharp turn. The halls turn to the left, where it swiftly comes to an end. The passage continues forward as well, but narrows dramatically as it does so to a width of more than 5 feet. Guard post. As you proceed down the hall from the intersection with the command allows last seconds to trumpet echoes when his ahead, even as the reverberations say you footsteps. The difficult hold actions, they sound as though they are moving in a direct away from you. The hallway widens here, allowing access to a small chamber to the south of the large cabin ahead of you. Your bustling sounds up ahead. In the chamber to your left, staring at you with wide eyes, a shaggy creature clapping on your furs. Even as you spot it, it releases a loud blast of sound from a primitive horn that holds to its lips. Soft sound, you slowly press feet. Communal chamber, this noise can remain with it. Really seconds of the communal camp and suddenly the prince of palace and purpose away strewn about the rim, and they reach the walls as if to see with a ring wide and under their smooth. The stones close enough to make your eyes water feel metal heights. Have been fabricated and even the string decay has set in on more than a few of them. The sleeping palace are all empty, but the chamber is not large humanoid creatures so shaggy that you cannot tell where their fur leaves often the furs that they are wearing to hit. And I saw you from various points by the room, they hold weapons in hand, and their faces are twisted and songs of break as you slay all these awesome creatures and bugbears. In fact, 12 of them, you slay all of them. There's the porticos. According to the porticos, blocks further passage down the square where the crossbars along the gates are formed from the bones of some creature far larger than a human that appear to be built together. I so thick that there's a consistency of sound you cannot see, and these means of opening the behind the porticos, extend 2 passages one to the northeast, one to the southeast, where they block by curtains, so you cannot see what may lie beyond. Treasure chamber. Treasure inside the curtain from the northeast, you see a corridor that extends less than 100 feet and stops abruptly. That widens as the rest of reading something of a chamber. At the further end of the chamber are a number of crates, chests, other benches, and other receptacles. Chieftain's quarters. You notice a side curtain walking access to the chamber, 3 points in your direction, a more shaggy curtain, swing blade stands in the front, or just feet. You can't picture that. This side cavern has been made up of fairly shaggy under the surface of the living chamber. Natural wooden bed frames supports layers of fixed a number of all but thick wool cloaks have been sewn together to form a row, breaking entrances armor times along the walls, and their various and right sizes and styles and suggest they come from a wide range of races. The fire pit sits in the center of the room, doubles a compact direct surrounding by stones or a smaller triple fire packles away. Within, the curtain has prevented you from seeing this chamber from the gate escape, good both for passing the king and the fire from reaching out the chamber. So there's a high level bugbear that you fight and kill or slay at the right speed. Excavation. Reaching the scale of clearly natural data, and floors uneven, and littered with holes and slime waste, the walls are rough, jagged, vertical crevices. The center part labor hammer blows and cracking rock echo from far in the cavern, from where you stand, you cannot see who or what might be the source of those sounds. This portion of the cave does not seem as natural as rain with risk, who is being daily sent caves, forming a small passage or an anti-chamber that nature did not intend. This cavern stretched wide enough and even where it is narrow to the east, the forward remains sufficiently broad to cut this creature so large and neat. Nice and walking like a far broken down needle from right across the radio terminal, you pick your way across. Get carefully, you not want to take out its cancer. Here and there, moments when the rhythm is but inject your ice clearly not all protrusions and lines will flow are natural. Crossword cavern. The white fancy opens and into an enormous cavern with eyes of the corners, passages and subcaverns containing all directions, three hours of time to examine him. In the center room, an enormous one-like creature, gaping down with one is a sort of making sliding across the ice of practice feet. Crossword attack. You kill the crossword. In the same flesh, the large side of this cavern has a ring of broken ice and rock against the northern wall. The floor shows signs of warping is not smooth as it's the south, but considerable shocks are strange objects that appear to be ice formations, but at perfect oval shapes suggest they may not be natural. Merle. From a distance, the walls in this almost rectangular outpost look just like all those in the surrounding area, rock covered by layers of ice. Upon closer inspection, however, it becomes clear that these walls are not normal. Though it is patched in many places, some of the vegetation behind thick sheets of ice, you see that strange normal adorns all three of these walls. Specific details are difficult to distinguish, but you are fairly certain you make out human shapes and very good functions. They appear to be cross-shaping themselves before height lines that look like snail-capped mountains. Unmoving as in their shapes much larger and the human ways depicted. These shapes represent white dragons, newly ridden by skinned giants, and other sexual creatures. Abandoned temple. After cruising through the bottleneck in the corridor, you find yourself in a moderate-sized chamber that has an exact shape, although they are mostly hidden beneath ice and dirt to make out portions of very abstract symbols coming from the floor. They too are jagged on the sharp, somehow disconcerting to look at. For more than a few moments at a time, near the top of the chamber stands a rectangular block of stone perhaps 5 feet long by 2 feet wide by 4 feet high. These stones is obviously not native to the caverns, but the block is clearly made of polished white marble, which you had never come across in the region. Directly behind marble stands an iron disc the size of a Ferris wheel, upon which are carved more abstract symbols, intertwined with draconic forms, heavily burning human faces and metal beaks. Mythic layer. This cavern is narrow but high, the ceiling appears to be at least 20 feet from the floor, numerous ledges and holes fit at the walls, and several columns of ice and rock rise from the floor to various heights. Method retreat. The corner leading behind the cavern is extremely narrow, less than 2 feet wide. Further, you can see the twists and turns as it goes, and the walls are rough. If it is other caverns, you have seen variations between the caves, hanging less than 15 feet on each side of the ceiling, just looking about 7 feet from the floor, making the chamber feel even more cramped. I think border just as narrow stretches as one right here leads off to the southwest. Whatever the great blizzard. As you round the bend in the cavern wall, under the shaking wall rattles your eardrums, and the breath literally does shed as the enormous reptilian form eyes glow, feet and skin black as midnight. Try to swim to you on 2 powerful wedges running beside. It has a vivid white skin, giant iron furs, and carrot hair axes. The gap is in the stone beside you, and almost too wide to properly hold a cavern. It's really more than an exceptional large bend, and the wall so clear that something is using the area as a layer. Furs and stones are piled with enormous circling net. On top of the first laid out the size, it looks almost like a cliff meant for a tent. The entire cliff smells of reptilian musk. You can only imagine how much worse it would be than a world climate. There's a bigger effort to make fucking kill. Refuge. Winter Wolf Den. Trainer. This round cavern has a number of niches along the wall, holes and crevices in the snow. Remains a large fire pit and camp left near the wall from open crevices, isolating light. Abandoned camp. Gone fishing. The lake shore. Fishing again. Fishing camp. Young adult form. Rock kept small. Cross-fire barracks. Guest lair. Storage cage. Abandoned outpost. The dead. Entry cave. Ice corridor. Double traps. Purple worm lair. Bone devil. Slave cave. Crevice. Huge cave. Corpse storage, pool room, Tabral chambers, Cairo hydro layer, Kendrick pit, slave pens, refuge pit, rest cave, black cutting cave, central mines, deep mines, reward hats layer, flying latch at a wizard, sideways and chamber, the exit, assembly room, box fences legacy, guard barriers, frame room. Well, we end up coming across Family 2 Load and the right TL, and a Marcellus and braze us, and you slay them and complete the most understanding. And you pass on 20 last on 24 congratulations.